Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Manifest live stream campaign. Sorry we were off last week, my bad, but we're all good now. I got my voice back. We're ready to play. But before I jump into any sort of recap or anything of what happened 2 weeks ago during the last episode, we are going to jump in with at least one announcement from Addie. What do you got, Addie?
Thanks, Tommy. Usually my news is pretty good, but this is pretty medium. We have, for those of you who have backed us on Kickstarter or pre-ordered through BackerKit, you'll be getting an update in the next couple of probably hours, but most likely by the morning, that our production has been delayed a little bit. So basically, what happened is while we have chosen vendors or means of production that are US based, many of them actually get their supplies from China. And with the coronavirus kind of not running rampant because that's a little bit like but definitely affecting not only the Chinese New Year celebrations, but then also the limited amount of work that people were able to do. Our printer was not able to get all of the, I guess, ink or some of the inks that they use to print, which means that now there is sort of a backlog at the printer. We are in about the middle of that queue. And so we were expecting to go to print this week and send out and get like the final proofs and approvals next week, which then we would have the PDF in order to be able to send out to the world and put up for sale and all that good stuff that we're really excited about. But instead, that has been delayed. We've been told to expect a 3-week delay. Um, so that would be middle of March. We expect to have the PDFs available, and then hopefully they said that they're trying to sort of rush their production process and like hire more people in order to cover the balance. But we don't know how that will affect how long it takes to print the books book order that we've made. So long story short is that we do have a pretty significant production delay um, that we are now a part of. And there's everything is kind of out of our hands. So we will keep you updated as soon as we have updates. The store is not going back for pre-orders because we have put in our official numbers to the printer and we can't change that. But once we go live and have books on hand, we'll be able to fulfilling other orders as soon as the Kickstarter stuff is out. So that's pretty much where like the Manifest Kickstarter is right now. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us either on social media or through Kickstarter or back
Yeah, and
if you ordered through there.
and you'll be getting like Addie said, there will be an update with maybe a few more details in the on the Kickstarter, and we'll push that to everyone's inboxes. That's probably gonna happen tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And the update will probably be posted tonight, and then the email should be pushed in the morning.
Yep.
The other thing that affects is our Twitch schedule, because we were supposed to start to have downtime, sort of like shipping parties and whatnot, but general free time. Um, in the middle of this month and towards the end of this month, and definitely in March, we were going to start streaming a couple of our other Twitch shows. But because of the production delay and the uptick in sort of like administrative shenanigans that we have to take partaken. The GM styles and the other shows that we were going to bring back in February are now coming in March. um, and you'll hear all about that because I am so excited. I am so excited for GM styles, and I really, really want to bring it back. So hopefully, really soon. I'm hoping to get it in when with my advanced copy of Wild Mount. It's going to be my so. Yee! Other than that, I think the only other announcements we have are for C2E2, which is the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. Got it. And um, we are going to be having a booth there.
We just got followed by Crystal Sully.
Oh, hi, Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
So we are actually going to be there with Crystal Sully at our booth. Crystal, if you didn't know, is the magnificent artist who is doing all of our creature work. So if you saw any of our cool, like the wassets from last week and the squonks and all that good stuff, she's brought all of those images to life, and they're amazing, and we love her, and we are so happy to have the opportunity to host her at C2E2. Tommy, the booth number is
150.
150. It's an easy number. And if you're coming to Chicago, you can come visit us there. I'm also running all of the Dungeons and Dragons at the con. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that we're involved in. And we are definitely going to be pouring into our social media about it and letting you know more next. So, and C2E2 is the 28th, 29th, and 1st of March.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We're super excited. Crystal's going to be doing like little manifest creature bundles. I'm going to be hanging out, just admiring the rest of her art, and then answering any questions anyone has about the different manifest creatures. So if you're at C2E2, there's a very good chance you swing by booth 150 that I will just be there, riding the coattails of Crystal Sully. Because her art is amazing, and for nothing else you should go to her booth to see what else she's done, because like the sketches she's done for us are amazing, but like she has a ton of stuff with like full color, and like she loves dragons. It's great.
And that is it for announcements. As always, remember to follow and subscribe and like us and share with your friends and hit us up on social media. We are Manifest the RPG. Yay. And with that, Tommy, I think it's back to you.
Thanks, Addie. So
you guys.
Kinsey, Pax, and Roland have made their way into the Badlands, having escaped the law in the garden. They came into the Badlands, and 2 weeks ago during that episode, they arrived and found themselves on a homestead, the Munson homestead. I've forgotten the father's first name now. Daryl, right? Yeah.
Daryl, it's Daryl, yeah.
Daryl Munson. So they had to take shelter in the Munson farm because a very bad hailstorm was rolling through that night. Daryl Munson housed them. His son Joe made them a fine meal that impressed Kinsey. Kinsey. I've forgotten your real last name, Charlotte, right? Not McCharlotte, not Ken McCharlotte.
No, Ken Charlotte.
No, McCharlotte is correct.
Damn it.
McCharlotte is correct.
Yes, I've given him a more regular person. It's easy to remember.
Kinsey was so impressed by Joe's cooking that Kinsey bought a bunch of Joe's special blend of herbs and spices that he was putting on his meat. And is going to go try and, perhaps sell that to some people and maybe raise a little bit of do some marketing for the Munson farm. But Daryl was appreciative of these kind drifters. Roland helped him fix his silo, which had a issue with its dehydrator, and they because they earned Daryl Munson's trust, they were given a bunch of different cubes of supplies, as well as 5 crates of sealed vegetables, and 32 spurs. And he asked that they go to the nearby town of Soldina and drop all of the supplies and the crates off at the general store, and then bring the 32 spurs over to Michelle Green at the saloon for her to hold on to. The 32 spurs are the nomad pack fee for the transit of the goods. And he offered, I think he paid you guys for your trouble. You went on your merry way with several bags of spices and a full truckload of supplies that you were bringing to town for the Munsons. And then you ran afoul of a wasset and a cactus cat, but you managed to survive. The truck's a little bit damaged. Everyone got a good night's sleep as soon as you found safe passage through the kind of wasset territory. And now it is the next day. You all wake up well rested. No other troubles with wassets or cactus cats, cacti cats.
I think it's cactus cats.
I think it's cactus.
There's not more than one cactus on the cat.
You're about a little less than a day's drive away from Soldina at this point. I'd say half a day to 3/4 a day.
Great. We drive there.
If Pax is driving, Roland and I could be in the back of the truck fixing armor and perhaps stitching him up a little bit.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I suffered no physical damage, merely mental damage from the lack of sleep, and have since recovered. Also, my armor is fine, despite being thrown from the truck 20 or so lateral feet through the air.
It was very impressive how you landed on your feet.
I don't have a response to that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wasn't expecting one. Pax, how was your armor?
Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, I guess I could work on my own armor then.
Yeah.
Help people.
So if you have a machinery cube to use up, that automatically restores 3 points of armor, and then you can roll a machinery test to restore additional points of armor.
Alright, I will take that, and I will also roll machinery test. That's 3. Alright, what have we got here?
I would help you, but I believe last session I already dedicated these next 2 weeks downtime to making an army tool, so good luck.
Fair enough, can't argue with that. Well, that is 3 successes.
Okay. So you restore 6 points of armor. Do you need to patch it up anymore, or is your armor in top shape now?
Yes, it should be, there.
Cool. So Roland is sitting in the back of the truck, continuing to work on his project, crafting this Omni tool. And Kinsey, patches up his armor. Pax, you're driving. You manage to kind of find little raised parts of the terrain with some vegetation. You stick to that to try to avoid any areas where wassets may or may not be. And eventually, off in the distance, after about 8 to 10 hours of transit, you see way off in the distance the town of Soldina. It's a relatively small settlement with only about a dozen or so structures. It sits in the center of a naturally carved out patch of earth in the dry, rocky terrain of the area. It kind of has a naturally formed trench that actually goes all the way around the town. And it seems to serve as sort of a dry moat, about 4 to 5 feet deep and like 8 to 10 feet wide, depending on what part of the trench you're looking at. As you get closer, you can see there are 3 wide, edgeless wooden bridges that allow for easy passage over the trench. There's one on the northeastern corner of town, one on the southern end of town, and one on the western edge of town. The centerpiece of Soldina is a respectably sized triptych church. It's the first building you can identify, as its kind of greenish oxidized dome reaches the highest point in town, with the exception of the LRC tower, which sits off of the eastern thoroughfare. And as you get a little bit closer and are able to kind of like get a better lay of the land, you can, from a distance, note a saloon and a general store that are near the center of town, not too far from the church. There's a stable on the northern edge of town, and near the southern side of town, there seem to be several clotheslines behind what you assume is a laundry.
Well, what do you think? Shall we make straight for Shell Green and give her wares?
I don't see why not.
Be done with our business quick enough.
Yeah, you do know that your instructions from Daryl were to drop all of the supplies off at the general store and then give the spurs to the saloon keeper.
General store first, then. And then after we do that, we send the message to Riveteers.
Yeah. At some point, he wanted you to make basically put a listing for the Riveteers to see that there's stuff to be picked up from Daryl Munson at the general store in Soldina. So yeah, you're kind of approaching from like the northwestern, so you could come in from the north side of town or the western side of town. That's your preference. The western side, I guess, is closer to the general store that you've spotted, so you're able to drive over that bridge, and you pull up. The general store is moderately sized. It's almost every building in this town is about 1 story tall, kind of wide. The saloon's 2 stories. There's a couple of houses on the eastern edge of town and like the southern part of town that have 2 stories instead of 1. The general store, though, is a single-story building, kind of wide, square shape, very simple, and it just says general supplies at the top. And you're able to pull up. The thoroughfare is wide enough that and there's not a whole lot of foot traffic, so you can very easily kind of just coast over, park your truck outside of the general store. You don't see any quick and easy way. There's no a loading dock or anything like that. But you can go in through. There's a big double door that you can push through to go in.
Great. We'll go inside. And hopefully there's someone there that I can tell we have their stuff.
Yeah. So entering in, it's a neatly laid out shop. None of the shelves are higher than about chest height. Gives you a nice lay of the land. Everything seems really organized and labeled, and sitting kind of on the opposite of the door, in front of a wall that kind of bisects the front half and the back half of this general store, is a large, muscular man, maybe about in his 50s. He's balding. His hairline has receded quite a bit, but the hair he has is very wiry and thick, and he has a big, huge mustache that attaches to mutton chops. And he's wearing simple clothes, short sleeves. His arms are very hairy and muscular. He's got a tuft of hair poking up out of the V of his undershirt, and he turns to you and goes, "Howdy."
Howdy there. Are you the owner here?
Yes, sir, I am. Duke Russell, at your service.
Ben Harris, pleasure to meet you. I was hired by the Munson Farm to deliver some supplies into town. We got a shipment for you.
Ah, hey, is old Munson hiring help nowadays?
It was more of a hiring of convenience. We were passing through. He was kind enough to let us stay the night through the storm. We carried some stuff into town for him.
Mighty kind of you to do so. Yeah, you can go ahead and wheel it in here. We'll take stock of what he has and payment he's planning on coming into town for, or am I sending that back out with you?
Nah, he said he was going to pick it up next time he was in town.
All right, yeah. Let's go ahead and take care of this then.
You got like a dolly or hand cart? We ain't.
Oh, sure, yeah. And
Thanks.
he goes into the back, and you hear like rummaging around. Then he wheels out like it's not quite like a 2-wheel handcart. It's actually got 4 wheels, and it's like kind of wide, and he's got a handle on it. And he pushes that out and goes, "Let's go ahead and load her up then." And he follows you outside. And he, I assume, does a lot of the loading. He like, without hesitating, like grabs the like biggest crate and like sets it down. He's just like very, very like at ease, like moving any heavy cargo you may have.
Real quick, just because it happened like lightning fast. A piece of gear was modified or repaired, and I assumed a fake identity. We all get 2 XP, and I've earned a grit.
Yeah. This is true. Okay, so Duke loads everything up, and then he goes, pleasure to make your acquaintance to Kinsey and Pax. Duke Russell.
Ken Charlotte, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
Hi.
Howdy, ma'am. And he pushes the cart in, and he's like, "Let me whip up a receipt for you in case anyone asks you anything, And if you run into Daryl, you can confirm this is what you dropped off. I'll sign it."
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
And he like marks it down. He's like, "All right, these are vegetables, I assume." Sir. All right, and he like tears a copy of the receipt and hands it to you. He goes, "What'd you say your name was again, son? Sorry."
Ben Harris.
Ben, pleasure to make your acquaintance. You gonna be in town for long?
Not quite sure yet. We're just sort of getting the lay of the land. We're
All right.
sort of headed generally. I forget. West, east.
East.
Sort of headed generally east, but no particular. Might stay a day or two. We're not sure yet.
Well, the terrain around here can be pretty rough, so if you need anything, feel free to browse my wares, and I'll give you a fair deal on just about anything.
Thank you kindly. I'll keep it in mind.
And then he goes back around and starts like pushing stuff like back into the back room. Leaves you to your own devices.
Anything we should pick up while we're here?
I don't know. I'm a bit low on machinery cubes, I suppose.
Yeah, I've only got 1 tech cube myself. Of course, I wouldn't want to dip into your supplies. Perhaps I should pick.
That does seem prudent.
Yeah, there's enough stuff scattered around this general store for you to put together machinery cubes and tech cubes. Judging by the prices on everything, machinery cubes are going to run you 2 spurs each, and tech cubes are going to run you 3 spurs each.
3 spurs each.
I'll go ahead and pick up 3 machinery cubes.
Okay.
And did we get paid for transporting this, or did we decide? Well, we still have to pick up the money from the saloon owner. She's going.
No, I thought you guys did get paid. I thought he gave you guys just a few spurs.
Sure, I only have 4 spurs, so I figured I'd ask.
I think that may have been what you each got paid. Something along those lines. The money that you were given was to drop off at the saloon.
Right. Yes.
The fee for the Nomad Pack.
Thank you.
Right, and we turned down the lucrative profit sharing / marketing contract for Munson's famous spice blend.
Well, perhaps with a successful advertising campaign, we could negotiate a rewriting of the contract. Do you think you could?
I mean, sure, but
Run
that's gonna be,
point on
it's a bad look, Kinsey, when you say, no, I don't want to share, and then it gets big, and you say, actually, I do.
Well, the Muntins seem like fairly pleasant people, and I'm sure they'll be more than fair, depending, again, on how successfully we advertise their wares. And if we actually even get our saloon.
Yeah, you. So, Roland, you put a bunch of supplies on the top, on the counter. You said you're getting 3 machinery cubes.
Yeah.
So he goes, "I'll be 6 spurs."
Yeah, I hand him over.
He takes them. Kinsey, you were purchasing.
I'll grab a tech cube since I only have.
Sure. Yeah. That'll be 3 spurs. Anything for you, young miss?
I don't have any money, but I've got a couple of items. Are you open to trade?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I have general sundries and whatnot. I also, there ain't no blacksmith in town, so I make do trading for ammo and weapons, as I know you did. Whatever it is you need. But what do you got to offer me?
I have 2 cubes of incendiary round and a low quality grapple gun.
Okay. Let me just inspect those for a minute. Also, while I'm thinking about it, you, Pax, at the beginning of the session, you were handling a vehicle, so go ahead and roll a fuel test for the truck.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping you would see.
You thought if you'd be quiet enough about it, he'd forget.
Oh no, it rolled behind the computer. Should I roll a different one? Ugh. Hi, everyone.
As it lies.
It was a 5, so we're fine.
Okay, cool. So you do not need to expend any fuel to keep this thing running at the end of the session.
That's good, because I don't have any.
So
We should stay in town, maybe.
you said a low quality grapple gun and what now?
And 2 cubes of incendiary pistol ammo.
Okay. Should have had my master list of supplies ready.
Oh no, I've just realized I remembered I fired my last bullet last session.
Yeah. He looks at this, he inspects it, goes, a little bit of wear and tear on this, but all the important parts seem functional, and there's quite a lot of ammo, young miss. And incendiary, none of that. Now, this ain't for hunting, is it?
No. I found this gun, and it had this with it.
Utterly ridiculous gun. If you'd seen it, barely usable. Well, perhaps usable by a man like you.
Oh, not the big one, the little gun.
Oh yes.
Sounds like y'all had an interesting time getting here. All of this I could give you a good 20 spores for.
Oh, well, I need a fuel cube, maybe 2 if you have it, and then some machinery cubes. We ran afoul of a wasset, and he kind of ate half my.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you've got any use for wasset hide, I do have a couple of these as well.
I could see some use for wasset hide. I mean, it ain't the hardest thing to find around here, but depending on how much you got, how big the wasset was, I could tan that into a jacket or all sorts of things.
Right, it was a hell of a beast, I'll tell you that.
I'll take a look at that. And miss, if you're wanting 2 fuel cubes, I could put together 1 machinery cube to go with it, and that'd call us about square.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. He goes in the back and pulls out like 2 canisters of fuel, sets them down next to the counter, and then puts together supplies to make a machinery cube for you. And you go and then you have You've successfully traded all those items for 2 regular, they're not premium fuel, just regular fuel, and a machinery cube.
Cool.
And Kinsey, you bring in like your Wasset hide all like bundled up and everything. I forget what kind of like how do we put that in your inventory? Did we say it was excellent quality?
It's 4 standard quality as well.
4 standard quality. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks at that and he goes, well, all right. Think I might be able to give you something for that. It's a good hide. It seems like you all ran into quite a large one out there.
You're not kidding.
Let me just. But altogether, I think I could give you about 6 spurs for this.
I'll tell you what. I'll take. May I take 3 spurs and another tech cube from you?
Absolutely, happy to trade.
I appreciate that.
And so yeah, you get 3 spurs in your inventory and a tech cube. You drop off your Wasset hide, which he takes in the back and sets out of sight. And as he's coming back, he's kind of wiping his hands clean. He goes, "Anything else I can get you folks?"
Ammo. In the rustle with the Wasset, I did run dry.
Oh, I do have some ammo. You looking for just some standard shot?
Just regular bullets for a medium gun.
That I got. And he goes under the counter and pulls out like a few stacks of bullets. And it's gonna be 4 spurs.
Sure thing. And I'll hand him 4 spurs.
I must say, we don't get that many travelers coming through town. We're kind of at the end of the line. Y'all came from Munson, so I mean you were coming from west. Y'all from the Garden?
Not originally, but we may have spent some time. Well, I personally may have spent some time there.
Well, y'all are obviously drifters. You might have some trouble finding work in town, I must say, which I suppose is why you won't be sticking around for too long, heading east and whatnot. This town here, it's quiet, full of kind folk. Not so much need for this much firepower in a place like this.
Oh, we don't plan on using any of it in this fine establishment or in this town.
Didn't mean to suggest.
Not at all. I can understand being worried about certain kinds of drifters out here. Believe me, I've run into a couple of them myself.
For as long as you're in town, my doors are open. I'm happy to supply you for whatever adventures you may go on in the territory.
Well, thanks very much.
Y'all have a nice day.
You too.
And he goes about, starting to move around some of his inventory. He goes back in the shop to start, restocking the shelves off of what you purchased. And you step out into the thoroughfare of Soldina.
So
And,
I've
I was going to say the saloon is across the street into the corner.
Okay. So I've put my fuel cubes in the back of the truck, and then I turn around with the machinery cube and can you guys
turn that
put
into
this
car?
in my yes. Please use this to fix my car.
Yeah, sure. Take the cube and smash it into the car, and it's healed.
Well,
I don't think that's how that works.
That's going to deal damage to the car.
Yeah, no, I'll do mechanics work.
If I can assist, I'd like to help you out, Sven.
Yes, please. Now, if it were a flying car, would it be technology to repair it?
Nope.
Interesting.
That's 2 hits from me, so that's a +2.
Oh, great. That is 2 hits.
Okay. So that heals up 5 damage off the car. And while that's going on, there's a couple people you see like wandering in and out. There's one person who like goes in the general store, is just like howdy as he walks by. And then Pax, while you're watching like Roland and Kinsey like repairing the damage of the car, you see movement out of like the corner of your eye. And when you turn, you see a young girl about 10 years old, and she's got braided pigtails, is wearing a very nice, kind of dirtied, but like a nice-ish, like plain dress. Her stockings are like a little scuffed up and torn at the knees, and she goes, "Howdy."
Hi.
Y'all are new in town.
We are. Who are you?
I'm Alma Burns. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, she says, giving you a little curtsy.
You too.
What's your name? It's polite to say your name when someone introduces themselves.
This is a cult.
No, it's not. Just because Pax is dumb about kids. I'm Patty.
Patty man.
Nice to meet you, Patty. And then she like shouts over to where Roland and Kinsey are. Hi, I'm Alma Burns.
That's nice.
Hi.
You're new in town. What are your names?
Ben?
Ken.
Ben and Ken. Well, that should be easy to remember.
Shit, I didn't hear it before, but I do now.
Y'all need a guide through town? I know everywhere. I know all the people. I can tell you everything.
No.
Is
We don't
that
need a
what
guide,
you
right?
normally do?
I mean, it's not too often that there's new people in town to show around. Nice car. Looks like you guys had some trouble, though. Did you get in a fight?
We ran into a wasset.
Oh, yeah. Wassets are why I can't leave. I can't go on the other side of the trench.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I sometimes sneak into the trench. There's no wassets in the trench. Though I'm
You sure about
I'm not supposed to go in, but it's kind of fun.
Ken, can you finish up here? I have become fascinated with what's happening on the other side of this truck.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I'll come around, like, wipe my hands off, and so you said you know everything about this town.
Mm-hmm. I lived here my whole life. I'm 10.
All right. Tell me about that thing, and I'll point at a random building.
That's where Miss Ramos lives. She's a writer. She's weird.
All right, what's she write?
Books, I think.
Does she just stare blankly at me when I ask if she writes anything good, or did I cut out?
You cut out. Yeah, no, I didn't hear that at all. I don't know. I don't get to read her books. I'm still learning, and her books are really long, and they don't have any pictures.
All right. What about over there?
That is, well, that's the saloon, and then right next to it is the church.
All right. Who's the local preacher?
Well, there's two preachers. There's Mr. Wells and Miss Lewis.
Oh, I see the iconography for Triptych. Are they both
Well, that
Triptych,
one
or-
that one there, that one's for Oh, Australian. That's what Miss Lewis does. My family, we go to the triptych sermons, but a few people in town, they go to hear Miss Lewis talk. I've heard her talk a couple times. It's interesting. It has to do with the sky and all the stars.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. She says it's not what's in the stars, it's what's in you. That's what's important.
I guess that probably makes sense. I bet within the context of her teachings.
Anything else? You can I could climb into your truck and you can give me a drive around. I could point out all the people and the things.
Alma, where are your parents at? I don't mean to pry. It's I'm generally against inviting children into my truck, just sort of on the side of the road.
And she like kind of steps off to the side and points, and behind the general store is like that kind of area of town that's just a bunch of clotheslines and tons of like, you know, linens and fabrics and clothes just like hanging. And she points to like the clothes that are kind of building. She goes, on the other side of all those clothes, that's our house.
Oh, your folks own a laundry.
Yeah. My mama's name is Helen and my papa's name is Peter.
All right. And they don't mind you being the town greeter?
Well, like I said, there's not that often that people come through town. Though when the Nomad Pack comes through town, I make sure that all of them know where everything is.
All right. Well, I'll look to PAX and sort of asking as I'm saying. I don't see a problem with having a tour guide as we, you know, sort of get our bearings here. Do you, Patty?
Oh, so why don't you make sure it's okay with your parents? You can ride in the truck.
Oh, it's okay. I sometimes get rides around town when the Nomad Pack comes through. One of them has a motorcycle. It's really loud. But he has a little sidecar, and he lets me sit in it, and then I put the goggles on, and I can't see.
But okay, that's pretty cute. So, but your parents probably know the Nomad Pack, right?
I suppose, yeah. The Riveteers, they come through pretty often.
Yeah. So they don't know us because we're new. So they might feel like they might want to meet us. Isn't it? You said it was polite to introduce yourself and say your name. So
Do you want to come over and meet my parents? They're at home right now.
Sure.
Okay, this way. And then she goes past the general store and towards where all the clotheslines are.
Wait, where are we going? I thought we were going to the saloon.
Keep up, Ken. We're meeting the laundry owners.
How do we get ourselves into these situations?
So y'all follow. She kind of disappears into like the clothes.
Yeah, go to the house where her parents live, Helen and somebody.
Helen and Peter.
Peter.
So you follow the clothes through the clothes. You can kind of hear her being like this way, like, and you're kind of pushing your way through. And then you who's in the lead? Is it Pax, I guess?
Yeah.
So Pax, you pull aside you pull aside the one of the clothes, and right in front of you is a naked man about 40 years old. He's really slender. He's got his hair's really wet, and he's like drying it off with a towel, and he sees you, and he goes, "Howdy." And he slowly moves the towel down and like puts it around his waist.
Sir?
Burns, you got people in the back. And then
Did you see a kid maybe go around here somewhere?
oh, Alma? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I heard her somewhere. And then she comes bursting through some of the clothes. Like, she's got like a scarf on that she didn't have before. And she goes, "Howdy, Mr. Schmidt. This is my new friend, Patty."
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Howdy, Ringo Schmidt. And he shakes your hand. And then like he goes, "Alma, did you see where about your folks put my clothes?" And she like points over, like, and there's like a nice little line with some nice clothes, like little like white and black, and like a little like apron, all kind of hanging. And he just starts collecting his clothes and starts like putting on his clothes. And at this point, Roland and Kinsey, you show up. You see
I will pointedly look away from the naked dude.
Yeah, he like Roland and Kinsey, you show up, and he goes, "Oh, well, there's more of you." And he's like putting on his clothes, and Alma says, "My parents are this way. Mr. Schmidt's not my parents."
That's very important information. Thank you. Lead the way, Alma.
He cuts hair if you need your hair cut. He does a good job. He cuts my hair every month.
You know, I could use a trip. Where's your barber shop, Mr. Schmidt?
At the saloon.
Kinsey, leave the man alone.
What? He's half dressed at least. It's not like I saw him naked or anything.
Yeah, he's like finishes like putting on his shirt, and he goes, I do business over at the saloon. If you're ever interested, stop in there, ask for me, and they can send for me if I'm not in."
No.
Apologies for interrupting your bath.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, y'all look like you've been on the road for quite some time. They have some of the finest baths and ointments that you could want. And he like points towards a little bathhouse that's like attached to the back of the house. And you can see like there's like steam coming up through it. And he goes, "Anywho, I do have a business to attend to. A pleasure making. I didn't catch your names. Ringo Schmidt. You're Miss Patty.
Ben Harris.
Mr.
Ken
Harris.
Charlotte.
And Mr. Charlotte. Well, welcome to Soldina." And he goes wandering off. And the back door opens, and Alma's like, "This way!" And you hear, All right. Well, I mean, you go ahead and take a look here. What is it you want to show me?" And she points, she goes, "I made new friends." And about a 30-year-old man stands in front of you. He's clean shaven, has like, very plain brown, like clean cut hair. He's wearing like a light blue work shirt and some like clean but slightly worn jeans. And he looks at you and goes, "Oh, howdy. I see you've been introduced to Soldina's one-woman welcoming committee."
Yeah, that's exactly what I would call it.
Yeah, I'm a Peter Burns. Sorry if she hijacked you from whatever business you had to attend to, but she likes moving around the outskirts of town and spots people coming in and likes to welcome them when they show. Alma, I think your mother has some snacks for you to attend to. I think it's about lunchtime, so go on inside and talk with your mother, and I'll see to your friends. Okay, but I told them that I would show them around town. Well, I'm sure you will get the opportunity to do so at some point before they leave. And she goes, "Okay," and then like goes inside, and he goes, "I'm very sorry."
No, it's fine. It ain't a big deal.
She is, well, 10 years old and already too big for this town.
Uh, she wanted a ride in my truck, and I thought it was better if we asked first.
Well, I appreciate it. She does she's a pretty capable young lady. She would have no troubles keeping her arms and head inside the vehicle. So she's been trained. We have Nomad Pack comes through here every once in a while, and she loves getting little joy rides around town in their vehicles. We don't have that many vehicles in town, so.
Anyway, I thought it would be polite to ask instead of just throwing a kid in a truck and hoping it was okay.
I do appreciate it. If she hijacks you again, you think that might settle her down a bit, feel free. But she will be busy a bit in there if y'all want to return to your business. You staying in town for very long?
Not sure yet. Probably at least a night.
Fair enough. Well, if your clothes need tending to or you want to spin in the bathhouse, feel free to come on through. We got very reasonable rates.
Thank you.
We'll keep it in mind. Thank you very much.
Could you clean armor as well? You know, is that part of your services?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's been a while, I must admit.
Yeah, if you would like to drop off your armor, I could see to sprucing it up a bit. It does look quite a bit worn and a bit like it's seen some action. I see the fresher spots down here by the ribs. Well, if you'd like to leave it here, I could tend to it. It'd be ready for you before sundown.
No, I'd appreciate that. I think I will.
All righty.
And I'll take off my armor and give it to this man. But careful of this right here. The spikes that shoot out of it. Just be careful.
Good to know. And he like sets it down gingerly. No.
What's our move? To the saloon? I'll be giving the girl a joyride.
I think she'll catch up with us later.
I got a feeling that ain't the last we seen of Alma Burns.
Yeah, so we'll head back through, avoiding the area with the bath.
I mean, the bathhouse is like basically their backyard, so that's
Sure.
like right where you are. So you can walk through all the clothes and end up back at the general store, and where your car is, and then across the street into the corner is the saloon.
Great.
Yeah.
Head on in.
All right. The Soldina Saloon is pretty plain. It does have 2 stories. You can see there's a little staircase that goes up, and like what rooms there are. There's like no halls. There's just a like ring that goes halfway around the second floor of like a balcony with a few rooms set up there. And the bar itself is kind of small, modest. There's a few tables. Doesn't look like there's any like games of chance or anything. You do see actually in a corner, like under the stairs, there's a little barber's pole with like a chair and a mirror, and some supplies set up there. Mr. Schmidt is not there right now.
Oh dang, we beat him back.
He must have gone somewhere else. To the side of the bar, there's a little door leading back into what you assume is the kitchen, given like the noises you hear, kind of clanking of pots and pans inside. Sitting at a table, brightening when you walk in, is a gentleman with a guitar. He's in about his 30s. He has a mustache and like a little goatee. His hair is like, slicked back, and he's wearing modest but still brightly colored like clothing, and a little bit of like armor as well. And he's like plucking at his guitar, and he lights up when he sees you 3 walk in. And then behind the bar, you see a woman who looks pretty no nonsense. She's got curly black hair that's pulled back into a ponytail. Her sleeves are rolled up. She's kind of like washing a plate behind the bar. And she glances up at you and like seems to immediately size you up, like checks what weapons you have with her eyes. She sets her plate down and like dries her hand off. She goes, "Howdy."
Howdy. Name's Ben Harris. Are you the owner here?
I am Michelle Green. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, I'm sure.
Great. I got some spurs for you on behalf of the farm.
Ah, all right. For the nomads?
Yes, exactly.
All right. And she reaches out her hand, takes it, looks through it, and she goes, "All right." And she tightens up the purse and stashes it under the bar. And she goes, "I'll see to it that they get their payment when they come to collect, if they ever come to collect."
They ain't been by recently? Daryl seemed to, the way he explained it, they came through sort of regularly.
Regular, yeah, once or twice a month. But we keep an eye on the LRC listings to get a sense of when they're going to come. Actually, had they been on time, Mr. Munson would have missed them by a little bit. But as it stands, they should have been back through town about 4 days ago, roughly. The LRC tags said that they checked into Soft Band about a week ago, so they should have been here. But they're running late, I guess. Maybe ran into. I heard. I know there was that storm. Maybe that slowed them down a bit or something. But I don't know. They ain't here yet. So lucky for Mr. Munson, I suppose. Do y'all need anything to drink? You need any lodgings? I got a half-decent cook in the back if you ain't picky.
I'll kind of glance around. Maybe a room for the night? Yes, no, I ain't hearing objections. Yeah, a room for the night.
All right, the three of you? I got a place with a room with 2 bunks.
Sorry, you cut out at the end there.
I got a room with 2 bunks.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So that'll be a spur for the room, and you want any food or drink?
I don't need any food or drink. We've got rations, but thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Miss Berghart's no, premium factory town chef or nothing, but she can do better than rations. If you change your mind, let me know.
I'll like nudge Kinsey. It's like can
What?
the spice blend.
Oh right, hey. If Miss Burghardt would be at all interested, we did happen to purchase some very fine spice blend from Daryl's young son Joe. It's quite excellent, and perhaps you'd like to try it.
Oh, Joe's trying his hand at cooking, you say? Let me take a look at this spice. Anything that's gonna help out around here. And as you start getting out, she goes, "Munson's hiring or something?"
No, they were kind enough to let us wait out the storm in their barn, and so, they Daryl gave us some supplies. He was, we were headed this way. Figured we'd do him a favor, bringing it to town for him.
That is a nice spice. Emma, get out here. And a woman in about her mid to late 30s walks out. She's about 5'6", 5'7", broad-shouldered, relatively fit. Her hair is pulled back in a net. She's got a greasy apron on, and she steps out and goes, "Yes, Miss Green? Whip me up something. You mind if I take a pinch of this, Mister? What was it?
Charlotte, Ken Charlotte.
Mind if I take a pinch of this?
No, please take a. Actually, if you could make me a plate as well, I'm rather famished.
All right. Go ahead and well, here, hold on the spur for now. Maybe we got business to conduct here.
I do appreciate that.
She pulls like a little. I don't know how you have it. I guess it's in bags. So she like just takes one of the.
I think I have a sample sack that I've been carrying around just in case.
She hands that over and she goes, "Whip us up something with that spice. Let's see what you can do." And she goes, "Spice? I mean, all right, Miss Green, if you say so." And
I'm just gonna take out my notepad real quick and just write down just like Munson spice blend. It's a nice spice.
And she goes, "Hey, well, while you wait, you want something to drink? It wouldn't take her too long to whip something together, but make yourself at home." And then the gentleman with the guitar like leans up to the bar, and he goes, "Well, all this talk about whether or not anyone's gonna have a drink, I just can't stand it any longer. Let me go ahead and buy these fine drifters a round for now. Just add it to my tab, Miss Green." And she goes, "Whatever you say, Bobby."
Very, very kind of you, Bobby.
Bobby Klein.
Ken Charlotte. Bobby Klein. Very nice to meet you. You play a fine guitar from heard.
Oh,
Just
thank
now,
you.
you know.
Well, you know what? I'm always here to entertain. Fine folks of Soldina occasionally make their way into this joint and enjoy themselves at my behest. Well, you know, any good saloon's gonna need live music if it's gonna succeed. So if y'all want, I could well, for measly spur, I could play you a few songs.
I'll toss the spur down.
He catches it and pockets it, and then he's like, "All right, now let me see. Do you want something jaunty, or you want a little more easy rolling?"
I could do something lively myself. I don't know about my compatriots. What do you think?
Hey, it's your spur, man.
Like,
music lovers, these two.
He's like,
Please.
"Brant," and then like goes, "All right," and he starts like singing a ballad about Badlands Pete. It's a song you've heard before. It's not a Bobby Klein original. But he, you know, it's like he does his own little fun twist on it. He kind of like blends two Badlands Pete stories together, saying that instead of the normal story about Badlands Pete where he climbed to the top of the punched peaks and punched the top off of the mountain, or the other story where he grabbed a ball tail cat by the tail and threw it up into one of the moons. It's that he broke the mountain as he threw the ball tail cat into the moon. You know, it's pretty good. I mean, it's, you know, it's whether or not it's worth a spur, maybe not, but you know, it's only one song. He said he'd play a few for a spur, so it's a nice jaunty tune. Nothing too courageous, nothing too bad. And he like finishes the song with like a dramatic strum on the guitar and like lets the note hang for a second before he drops his hands on the strings to quiet it.
Ah, yes. Ain't that a punch in the peaks? That's a classic. I love that. Well done.
Thank you. I'm here all the time. and Michelle goes, "He sure is."
Tell me, do you write your own tunes at all, or do you just play the classic?
Well, I work on a thing or two. I have my own recording device, and when the inspiration hits me, I drop a few tracks into there, and you know, I mean, I ain't hit it big in San Cordero or anything like that, but you know, it's just a matter of time before someone hears one of my tunes and wants to give me a real stage. No offense, Miss Green, none taken.
Do you have I don't know, what would be a disc or a tape or?
oh, well, I could, and he reaches into his jacket and like pulls out like a little case and opens it up, and in it there's like these kind of cartridges, basically. These like little playing cartridges. They have like not like the design work on these is not like it's not good at all. It just says like Bobby Klein track, on it. Yeah. Bobby Klein is all it says on it, and he goes, well, my good sir, for a good 3 spurs, you can get a whole 20 minutes of fine tunes.
A whole 20 minutes, you said? I tell you what, would be my last 3 spurs. Can I hear another tune before I commit to it?
Well, I'll play one of the songs on the track for you, sir.
All right.
He like puts his leg up on the chair, and he plays it's kind of like a love ballad, and you've never heard the song before. He kind of goes a little too vibrato at certain moments, like he's trying to like milk every last bit of emotion out of like not that great of lyrics, but basically it's kind of like the equivalent of listening to the Western equivalent of like an NSYNC like love ballad, like
amazing.
Where it's like a bit campy, but like he has fun with it, and it gets stuck in your head more than it is good. He like repeats the same, like he follows the patterns to make it kind of like stick in your head. And he
catchy too.
it, and he goes, thank you. Quite a woman broke my heart not too long ago, and well, that just came out of me.
Yeah, happens to the best of us. Unfortunately, not all of us are quite as talented as you.
No,
yeah.
I'm sure you have your own talents, drifters such as yourself.
Maybe, perhaps 1 or 2. These drinks are just sitting here, my friend. Come on, come to the bar and join us.
All right, and did you want to go ahead? And he like slides the track over to you.
I'll tell you what. If I acquire a playing device before leaving town, you said you're here all the time.
I sure am.
I promise you, if I can put something together, I'll pick up one of your cartridges.
Pleasure to hear it, sir. And he takes the cartridge, puts it back in the case, closes it, slides it in his bag. And he goes, now, of course, what kind of musician would I be if I was not to listen to the tales of drifters such as yourself to inspire ballads? I mean, how do you think Badlands Pete got started? It wasn't me. I want to be clear, it wasn't me. I don't want to
I thought
claim.
it was just him being Badlands Pete.
But the story's got to spread. Tell me the story of Mr. Charlotte.
Well, what a story it is. I used to be quite the gentleman back then. A trapper, a master trapper, all over the Badlands and the Garden, and he'll pretty much spend the next 30 minutes telling all of the exploits, leaving some of the details perhaps out, following Roland's lead. I think Roland probably every once in a while, and when Kinsey gets a little too close to the truth, gives him an elbow, and so he veers it away, but he'll basically tell him pretty much everything that's happened. So
that's fantastic. You get interrupted partway through as the cook brings out some meats with the Munson spice on it, and Michelle says, not to interrupt this lovely spinning a yarn, but shall we? And she like takes a bite of the jerky and like chews on it. She goes, it's got a nice kick to it. She takes another bite out of it. She goes, Miss Berghart, I do believe this is the best meal you've ever made me in the 8 years of service you've had. Mr. Charlotte, is it? I would love to buy some of this spice off you. Anything to give us something interesting to eat from time to time.
Cool.
And Emma's like, well, and I don't think that's necessarily fair, Miss Green. She goes, hush up.
It is excellently prepared. I mean, it's not all the spice. you're quite a talent, I must.
And she goes, "Thank you, sir." And she goes,
Cool.
"Very, very polite of you to say, Mr. Charlotte. So what's the asking price for a bag of this here spice?"
Yes, Ben. What is the price?
Well,
My business manager, Ben Harris.
yeah, I keep track of the books. You see, for I suppose we could part with one bag for, I'll call it even 3 spurs. But you know what? On account of we're just getting started, trying to get the word out, and give it to you for 2, and you tell folks who come on through Munson Spice Blend, spread the word.
Go ahead and roll a manipulate test.
Am I dressed to impress?
Yeah.
The correct answer is always.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look kind of drifter-esque, and she also looks a little driftery.
That's such a good roll.
You are up against a 9.
Okay, I have 5 net hits.
Jeez.
I rolled a 6, a 13, a 13, a 13, and a 14, which exploded into a 12.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, you say all that, and she goes, trying to spread the word about old Joe Munson and his spice. Well, hey, if you want me to start maybe getting the word out on this, I'm going to need some extras to get a sample. So how about I buy 2 off of you? We'll say 5 spurs.
I mean, yeah, that's a great deal right there. That's what I say.
She shakes her hand on it, takes 2 of them, and
I think that's such a good deal. I take a moment and check the math in my head.
You don't think she did it because she did the math wrong? She just like threw out a good. She didn't try to haggle, like, right?
No, I know. I'm just like, wait, is that? No, that's a really good deal. I should do this.
Yeah, so you can mark off 2 of your bags are gone. 2 of your bags of spices are gone, and you get 5 spurs.
I'll split it amongst my compatriots. I think I'll give 2 to Roland and 1 to Pax, because I think Pax has done the least work.
We were doing so good.
Well, he didn't say it, I don't think.
No, I didn't say it out loud. I was like, I actually give it to her and I said, "Is this fair?"
Why don't you keep it and help me fix up the truck?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I suppose I would have 3. 2. Oh, I think I miscounted. But 2. Yeah, right. So, sure. All right.
All right. So Kinsey, you get 3. Roland, you get 2. And then Emma goes back into the kitchen with the spices. You continue your conversation with Bobby Klein, who is just like hanging on every word, and he is like, "What happened next? No!" Like at every appropriate moment, he's like, "And then what'd he say? No!"
We thought we were going to be ambushed by, whoever attacked the people in the walker, but it turned out it was actually 2 ball-tailed cats. Can you believe it?
2 ball-tailed cats?
2 of them!
Yeah, you gotta have a few scars to go with that.
No, well, I showed him one of my scars.
He goes, "Oh, I got this one from falling down real bad the other day."
Oh, wow, that's quite a bad one. Must have been at least a stitch.
And that goes on for a decent amount of time.
Too long. It goes on for too long.
Yeah, Roland and Pax probably for you too. It goes on too long. But Kinsey has made. Kinsey is just entertaining Bobby, and Bobby is entertaining Kinsey. Roland and Pax, what are you doing while Kinsey is telling tales?
I don't know what, like, on a macro scale I'm trying to accomplish, but on a micro scale, I'm seeing, like, how far away I can scooch my stool down this bar before they notice that I ain't in the conversation anymore.
They're not paying you any mind, Roland. A couple more people do come in because you guys are like Kinsey and Bobby are making enough of a ruckus that a couple more people like wander into the saloon and they're like paying attention. And then Bobby seems to know them and is like, every once in a while, Kinsey, you say like you start telling like a story and he like just puts a little track behind what you're saying.
Kinsey loves this. He relishes it.
Yeah, Kinsey, go ahead and roll. It can be either blend or manipulate. And we'll call it. You'll have a +2 for soundtrack.
Sure. All right, that's a success.
You got one success?
Yes. One.
Nice. So yeah, it's going well. People are like entertained. That's like it seems like some of them are like, oh, Bobby, he's always here. He's always being all crazy. But like ultimately, like they are enjoying themselves. They seem to find your company fun, even if they're not like hanging on your every word. And at a certain point, you do see Ringo Schmidt enter the bar, and somebody else, like somebody who was at the bar, like kind of stands up and goes over and sits in the barber chair and is like, can you just kind of clean it up a little bit for me, Schmidt? Yes, sir. And starts trimming that guy's beard a little bit. Roland and Pax. Roland, you've scooted all the way to the end of the bar at this point. No one's paying attention to you.
Once Roland has gotten like a full like seat away, I just get up and leave. I'm gonna head out to the LRC station.
Sure.
Well,
to send that info.
if we're not gonna make a game out of it, it ain't really fun. Yeah, I'll go. I'll head out with Pax.
Okay. So as you two go over to the LRC tower, you do have to walk by the Triptych church, and as you do, you see there's a man there. He seems to be tending to like a little garden with some flowers in it, like kind of like some desert flowers and some cacti that kind of flank the steps leading up to the front doors. He is wearing a dark gray trench coat with a high collar, and you can see on like the back, like the sun kind of shining off of the golden triptych triangle symbol on his back. He's got like dark brownish skin. His head's almost completely shaved. It's kind of a buzz cut. And he has just like the faintest little bit of like a thin like kind of goatee. And he looks up to you as you walk by and he goes, "Howdy."
I forget like what's the correct like title to address the preachers by in the Triptych faith.
Father or preacher, or if you're more from like the like Markham's Landing or San Cordero areas of the Badlands, sometimes you say Padre.
Sure. Howdy, Father.
Father?
He like if you give him any inclination that you don't want to like have any further conversation with him, he doesn't seem to like, if you just keep stride, like he just like that's all it is. If you stop at all, then he'll engage you in conversation. You can just like read that on him, on Roland. Sure. He's without having to roll Roland, you can tell he is there for conversation if you want, but he's also happy to water his plants.
This is just a polite gentleman trying to keep an eye on his community.
Seems like.
Yeah. Father, do you, if you wouldn't mind, do you have services every night or
not every
some
night?
nights?
Twice a week. There is a service tonight, though, if you're interested in joining. We'd love to have you. Elliot Wells at your service.
Patty.
Pleasure to meet you, Patty. Welcome to Soldina.
Thank you.
Ben Harris, pleased to meet you.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Harris. Will you be joining us tonight as well? No pressure, of course. Doors are always open, as I say.
Maybe. Who's to say?
Well, we'd be happy to have you if you feel up to it. Is there anything y'all be needing? I'm sure at this point you met old Alma Burns, unless she's distracted.
Oh no, we met the welcoming committee.
Surprised to not see her on your heels.
She was definitely steered towards lunch by her father.
He does have some experience in that. Well, of course, our town is yours to enjoy while you're here. And if you have any questions or need any assistance of any kind, I am at your service.
Thank you.
He nods and then goes over to the other plants and starts tending to them.
I didn't realize you were observant.
Sometimes.
All right.
Kenzie's having that guy write songs about Ken Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
And not Kenzie McCharlotte, though.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to use that name for very much longer.
Yeah. Maybe he can't. Maybe he can become a tall tale like Badlands Pete. Though his exploits are not Badlands Pete-esque.
Also, Badlands Pete is an amalgamation of a bunch of different people, so it's not a real person.
All right. Yeah, sure. Okay.
He's a tall tale. He's a mix of a bunch of different people's exploits. No one punched the peaks off of the punched peaks. They just grew that way.
I don't know, Patty. I studied a lot when I was at university.
No,
That
you
ain't
didn't.
natural.
You didn't even go to university.
I extremely did go to university.
I don't believe you.
No, I did.
Where's your diploma? What's the name on it?
Well, the name on the diploma don't really matter.
Yeah.
And, I was not allowed to keep it after the Troubles, but I earned it fair and square.
Yep, you definitely went. You definitely got a diploma, and it was definitely in your name, and it definitely exists somewhere.
The only thing I would amend is it is in the name I was using at the time. Everything else you just said is correct. I guess I don't know about the last one. They might have shredded it.
So you make it to the spot where the two thoroughfares meet. There's the eastern thoroughfare that goes from the southeastern part of town to the northeastern part of town. You're on the one that runs from the west to the east. It connects, and at the other end of that little intersection is the LRC tower. You can tell from a distance it doesn't have an operator. It's just automated. I wouldn't say it's worse for wear, but the lack of an operator shows on many LRC towers, especially one this kind of remote. It looks like a couple of one of the screens is down, but you're able to walk over to it, no problem. There's no one there right now. However, as you make your way to the LRC tower, I would like you both to roll an observe test for me. We'll put you both at a -2.
Is it because of sight penalties?
No, it's because you're distracted. You're talking to each other.
Yeah, fine. I have very good vision.
At a -2?
Mm-hmm.
I got one hit. Then it's a 7.
Okay.
I got 2 hits. high as a 6.
Okay. So, Roland, you notice as you're walking, you both kind of like are talking, glancing around town as you do, and you both end up looking to the south down the thoroughfare there to the edge of town. Roland, you see like a little bit of dust in the distance, maybe like a vehicle on the way, or maybe multiple vehicles on the way. You're not sure. Pax, you look to the south. You see that same kind of dust cloud kicking up south of town, and you can tell it's coming from one vehicle that is approaching town relatively fast. It's not like a whole nomad pack, definitely, because it's definitely only one vehicle. It's not enough dust for a whole pack, but you do see like a vehicle is rushing its way to town from the south.
You see that?
Yeah, that ain't coming in awfully quick. Do I own binoculars? Nope.
You can make some if you have a thingamabobble.
I could make a bundle of binoculars.
They're not. It's not a consumable item.
Make one.
Yeah, I feel fine about get use out of later. I would like to convert one of these cubes into a binoculars.
Right? Yeah, you can turn a machinery cube into a set of binoculars. So you like see that and you're like, huh, and you like pull it, you go into your supplies and you find like, you know, a few things, you kind of put them together and get them, and you're like, all right, let's see how this goes. And you look, and through your binoculars, you can see it's definitely one vehicle. It's a car. It seems pretty modified. Definitely like it's driven a lot. It's like very worn. It doesn't have like a fresh paint job or anything like that. It's very bare. Not quite like a Jeep. It's very square in shape, heavily armored. It looks like, but it is very fast. You can't quite see the driver. The front windshield has some metal slats that make it so you can't quite see inside. Definitely enough space in between them for a driver to have a pretty good range of view, but also to provide some protection along the way, it seems like. And it is still approaching town very fast. And actually at this point you can start to hear like the faint engine in the distance kind of rumbling, doing a lot of work.
Now, if I didn't know better, I'd say a nomad battle wagon is coming in hot to this small town. If you want to take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pax, you look through, you see the same thing, and then you're kind of looking down the south road, and you got 2 hits on observe. So you're with the aid of the binoculars, your like vision kind of like pans down and to the right a little bit, and you see the front door of the Burns's house open up, and Alma comes rushing out because she seems to have heard the engine, and like she's looking, she's like kind of making her way towards the bridge. To greet this approaching car.
Oh man. I'm gonna. You know what? Yeah. So I shove the binoculars back into Roland's like chest, and I start lightly jogging toward Alma.
Sure.
Just like, oh no.
So you start jogging, and you see she's run up, and she's like whatever like her like napkin that she had for her meal she has in her hand. She's like waving it above her head. You, as you're like starting to make like kind of a light jog, you realize like that car's coming in really fast. It doesn't look like it's slowing down, and you think maybe you should pick up the pace. And I'm going to need you to roll an athletics test for me.
Okay.
We'll call it at a -2 because it is it's like a small town, but it's still a decent distance you're trying to close as you see this pending catastrophe on the way.
Cool. Did you say it was at a minus at all?
A -2.
Sorry. -2.
I think as she shoves the binoculars back to me, I'm like, oh no. I can't do anything. I'm not going to get there in time.
God damn it.
Actually, that's not true. I can. I will shout, Miss Burns! I can use that tour! And use motivational speaker to roll an assist on this.
Nice.
It's a very good roll. It's a very good roll. It's an extremely good roll. You can roll athletics at O +5.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay. I have 4 hits.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Roland, you shout like, Miss Burns, Alma, I could use that tour. And she's like waving a thing over, and she seems to like hear your voice cut through. Pax, you've picked up the pace. You're full on running now. And she turns back and sees you running towards her. And she's like smiling, and then she looks a little confused and like almost like a little bit scared, Pax, as she's not 100% sure. And like you see behind her, that car is rushing right up on her, and she goes, Miss Patty? And then you like leap and grab her and like slam to the side and roll, and the wheels zoom right by your head. As you do, Roland, you can see the wheels just barely don't fall off the side of the bridge as they cross into town. And then there's Pax, you're tucked with Alma, and she's wrapped her arms around you because she like immediately was like, something's up, and just like, you know, jumped up when you reached out for her. You grabbed her, rolled over, and you hear a crashing sound. And Kinsey, you're sitting there telling tales in the saloon, and Bobby is like getting to a point, and it's like a little bit of an escalation on the guitar. He's like, and he's like, and there's outside you hear a loud bashing sound and some screams. And one of the houses on the across the street from the laundry has the car smashed into it, and you can finally hear the engine starting to like cool down a little bit, and like the tire, which is still spinning, it's kind of like lodged up in the house. The tire is still spinning, but it's starting to slow down a little bit. And you see within this house, there's a bunch of like shattered, like there were like shelves of like pottery that are like shattered, and like there's also some paintings on easels that are like knocked down and broken.
Kinsey definitely immediately leaves the saloon and heads toward the truck.
Cool. There's like you rush out and everyone else is kind of frozen, and then like a second or two after you run out, like Bobby like starts running after you.
You okay, Alma?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, you go run inside, okay?
Okay. And she gets up and rushes inside. Her parents are already at the door. They see you on the ground, like letting go of Alma. She like scrambles up. She goes, Mom, Dad, the truck, or like the car, and like rushes in, and like she like, you know, her mother like hugs her. And you stand up, Pax, and you see this car slammed into the side of the building. And there's like a shout coming from inside. A woman kind of screaming.
Gonna run over there.
Same.
I'm so athletic.
So Kinsey, you get to the crossroads, and you see Roland ahead of you rushing towards this house that has a car slammed into the side of it. Pax is already climbing into the rubble. Pax, you see kind of like against the wall, like shouting, is this woman who's about 40 years old, roughly. She's pretty short, like about like 5'1" and she's just like holding like a paintbrush like it's like a lifeline, and is like ah! And then like a door opens up, and a man in about his 60s like opens up the door, and he's like, what the hell? Whoa, whoa, whoa! And he like grabs her and pulls her back, and is like, what the hell? What is this? He shouts at you as you're like at the car.
I'll be like, get out of the building.
They do. As they do, like the woman's like, what? who the hell are you? And he's like, get out the building! and like drags her out as she's about to start like accosting you with her paintbrush.
Snap that paintbrush in two. Is there a person? I mean, there's a person in here, right? Are they dead?
Yeah.
What if there's not?
So you pop the door
no.
open and you see a dead body in the front of this car, kind of smashed up against the steering wheel, wearing a blue denim like jacket with like some armoring on like the elbows and like the shoulders, and denim like pants, high boots. He's got a bloodied like red and white handkerchief like tied around his neck, it looks like, and he's just smashed up against the steering wheel. You can see there's an arrow sticking in the back of his neck.
Is there anybody else in the car?
No, just that guy.
Okay. I guess I'll get him out.
Sure.
If he's dead. I guess I can't tell, but like medically.
You can kind of tell.
Dead.
He's very dead
looks
looking.
dead.
So you grab him and you start dragging him out of the car. That's when Roland gets there, and a few seconds later, Kinsey gets there. Both of you get there, and Pax is pulling a dead man out of this car, which it seems like the gas is no longer being given to the car. The wheels are starting to like quiet up a little bit. It looks like the engine has kind of died at this point from the impact into the house. There's a bit of a crowd starting to form outside.
Can Kinsey get through the crowd?
Yeah. You push through. You got there. You're kind of like at the beginning of the crowd.
Yeah. I think Kinsey's going to run up to the body and try to get the arrow out of the back of his neck without breaking off the arrowhead.
Sure. You can do that. I won't make you. There's no roll for that. Sure. You can. Pax is holding him, and you can kind of get your hand on his neck and like slide the arrow out. It's a very fine tipped arrow. The head of which is made out of like almost like an obsidian like stone, but it's slightly transparent, like bright enough light, like directly holding it in front of the sun, you can kind of see through. Slightly, the light will pass through. And then like it looks like a nice like crafted, no like metal or anything like that. The fletching seems naturally produced. It's not like like factory made or anything.
This is an art and pottery studio, or was, right?
Yeah, it seems like. I mean, yeah.
Cool.
It was the center of culture in Soldina.
So I'm gonna grab like a sheet off of like the drying pots. Hopefully they don't just all crash, or if there's one on the floor that's easily grabbable, I'll just do that. And I'll just put it like over the body before I like pick it up, and I guess I'm gonna take it to the Triptych Church because he's dead.
So you step out of the house with this body wrapped up in cloth. Kinsey, you're holding the arrow in your hand. Roland, what are you doing?
I don't know. It seems handled. I'm available to jump in when inevitably someone must calm the people.
I mean, the people are like terrified. They're shouting. They're like, "Is everyone okay?" And then someone's like, "Where's Kyle Jr.? Where's Kyle Jr.? I'm right here, Paul." And the crowd is like, people are starting to rush the house. They seem like they're going to try and get involved. You can see on the other side of the crowd, the preacher, Wells, trying to make his way through the crowd, but the crowd is all trying to get involved and like kind of rushing in to where Pax and Kinsey are to see what's going on.
Sure, I'll sort of step in front. Hey, it's over. It's done. There ain't nobody in the house no more. The car is stopped. People are safe. Ain't nothing to do here. Yeah, I get, and it's your town. I can't tell you to leave, but like, you don't need to go into this dangerous house near this wrecked car.
Sure. I'll let you roll. Manipulate at a -5.
Is it a -5?
Yeah. You're up against an 8.
I I got one net hit.
Okay, so like you've stopped the crowd from like crowding the house, and like Kinsey and Pax are starting to like have a way to get out of the house now. Like people aren't swarming them, and you've got it, and everyone's like attention is on you, and someone's like, "Who the hell are you? Yeah, who the hell is he?" And then Alma's like, "I almost died."
Yeah, focus on that. That's crazy.
And the breaking through the crowd, Elliot Wells approaches you, and he goes, "Is everyone all right?"
Oh, well, yes and no.
And
the folks in the pottery studio are fine. The driver is, I'm 85% sure, deceased.
Lola, Kyle Jr., and they're like, "Oh, here, Father, here." He goes, "All right." And Alma's okay?
Yeah, almost.
I almost died. But then Patty saved me. She was like really fast. He goes, "All right, that's good. What is happening? Yeah, Patty, to the church. We'll go to the church. Everyone, it's going to be okay." He kind of stands up there next to you, Roland. He's like, "Everyone, it's going to be okay. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Let me and Mr. Russell take a look at this injured man. This is Mr. Harris and Patty, and they are here to help. They're drifters passing through town. We will. How about everyone meet at the church in 20 minutes time, and we'll talk about this. All right. For now, let me see what's happening." And then through the crowd, you hear Michelle Green shout, "You're the Father. Break it up, everyone! Free drinks at the saloon. We'll wait for 20 minutes and see what's going on." And everyone's like, "Oh, free drinks, all right." 20 minutes of free drinks, all right. And so they start making their way there, and then you notice that Michelle doesn't go with the crowd. She kind of splits off and walks with the Father towards where Pax and Kinsey are, and then another woman also like departs from the crowd. She's in about her 50s. She's wearing very like plain flowy clothing, and she has like some tattoos you can see creeping up her neck, and her hair is not entirely unkempt, but isn't really like pulled back or anything. It just kind of like hangs on the side of her head, and she joins Father Wells, and he goes, "To the church, yes?"
Lead the way. Yeah.
And then you guys basically kind of walk behind the crowd as the crowd moves to the saloon. They go off to the saloon, which is right next to the church, and then the three of you and Michelle Green, Father Elliot Wells, and this other woman step into the Triptych Church. It's set up for a triptych sermon right now, so it's got several pews and an elevated pulpit. You can see there's like a beautiful like stained glass like triptych epitaph like behind right behind where the pulpit is, and then on flanking on either side of the pulpit there's these beautiful like stained glass like it looks like stars and constellations and like swirling cosmic energy. And as you walk in, Wells points to the gestures to the woman walking with you and goes, "This is Gwendolyn Lewis. She is the Australian preacher in town." And then like a moment later, the door opens up behind you, and the large frame of Duke Russell comes through.
Where was he 5 minutes ago to carry this body?
And he comes in and he goes, "What happened?"
Well, car with I imagine he probably weren't dead when he was driving, but with the dying man, rolled through town, crashed into your wonderful pottery and painting conservatory.
He goes, the Douglas house? I think he may have done us a favor. And Father Wells goes, Duke. He goes, why? What? Just trying to lighten the mood. And Father Wells turns to you and he goes, well, let's see the body. What do you have there, sir? Who is he? Is this gentleman with you?
Yeah, this is Ken. He's with us.
Pleasure.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. You kind of set down the body on a pew. You open it up, and like Russell, like Duke Russell goes, "Ugh." And Mother Lewis goes, "Oh," as there's the smashed face of this person laying on there, and Father Wells goes, "This is a riveter, a riveteer."
Mm.
You can tell and he gestures to the bandana around his neck, and he goes, this is their marking. They all have these kind of bandanas. He came into town. You think he wasn't dead when he arrived?
Well, it would be very impressive for him to have driven as far as quickly as he did while dead.
Why do you think he was dying?
On account of the arrow that my friend Ken there is holding. That I do believe came out of that fella's head.
Mother Lewis takes the arrow, if you let her, and she looks at it, and then she exchanges meaningful glances with Father Wells, and Duke Russell goes, "Is that thing Ophidian?" And Father Wells goes, "I'm sure this is a misunderstanding." And Duke goes, "The hell's is the Ophidian clan shooting our nomad pack for?" And he goes, "We don't know that's what happened, Duke. We don't know anything yet." And he goes, "Hey, if they're sending us dead nomads from with arrows in their heads, this sounds like maybe they're done doing business with us." And he starts getting a little riled up, and then Mother Lewis goes, "Duke, this poor soul is obviously passed. Can you please assist me in bringing him back to the grove? Perhaps we can begin preparing for his burial, at least. And you can help me tend to the body." And he goes, he is about to say something, and he kind of looks at her, and he goes, "Yes, Mother Lewis," and scoops up the body and starts walking out.
I'd like to take the arrow back and see if I can glean anything from it. I don't know if I've heard of the Ophidian clan.
Yeah.
I want to verify perhaps the story if I can.
Yeah. I think I'd let you roll survival at a -2, which
Cool.
given your traveled explorer or whatever the talent experienced traveler, that kind of just washes out, so you can just roll normal survival, or you could roll connections.
Yeah, I'm going to roll.
But I think connections is actually probably also at no, connections is at a -2 also.
I have at least one of those skills. Can I? I feel like Kenzie's probably got it, but
yeah,
can I help?
Well, if you want to roll at a -2, yeah.
All right.
I'm rolling survival. I don't know if that.
Well, I ain't rolling survival. Connections at a -2. How far did my tendrils reach? Pretty far. That's 3 hits on connections.
All right, it's a +3 for you, Kenzie.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that is 3 successes.
Okay. So you've heard of the Ophidian clan. It's one of the western tribes in the Badlands. They kind of serve under the dominion of the Copperclaw tribe, which is the largest western tribe. You know that they are active in this region. You know that they live within canyons. You actually recall you're well, yeah, actually we're about right. to the south of town is the Snake Eye Canyons, and the Ophidian clan lives in kind of that like it's an like a almost like a labyrinth of like extremely like deep and wide like canyons, and the Ophidian clan operates within there.
I feel like that part specifically is my contribution to this role. Ophidian clan. Snake Eye Canyon's not too far. That makes sense.
Yeah. And the other things is like the western the tribes of the Western Badlands are known to be a little more martial than the tribes of the Eastern Badlands. Not insofar as they like wage battle or anything like that, but like where the Eastern Badlands tribes kind of are more cerebral and a little more spiritual. Their connection to nature being kind of like internalized and like contemplative. The Western tribes, they kind of connect with nature by overcoming it. They live in like harsher areas. They hunt a lot more. And that's like these arrowheads are like a staple of the Ophidian clan. Though one thing you notice, Kinsey, because you rolled 3 hits, is that this isn't a hunting arrow of the Ophidian clan. This is the kind of arrow they use to protect themselves from people who mean to do them harm. These kind of like sharper tipped and often poisoned arrows are not what they use for hunting. It's kind of like the stone that is chosen for the arrowhead has a bit of a ceremonial like effect to it. And so like you would know that this at least what you would be able to rule out like hunting accident for this. But it also strikes you. It strikes you as a little weird because they don't strike out against people like for no reason. But like you don't know what the nomad pack's like relationship is with the Ophidian clan. But as you think that, Wells speaks up and he goes, yes, there is the Ophidian clan resides south of here, in the Snake Eye Canyon, but we've always had an extremely pleasant relationship with them. Well, for one thing, our relationship with them is minor compared to the relationship between them and the Riveteers. The Riveteers befriended the Ophidian clan long ago to be shown quick passage through the canyons, and they often trade with each other, and more often than not, the Ophidian clan will have the nomads deliver goods to town. I can't imagine that there's something. This doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. They are not a vengeful people. They are kind and generous to those that respect them.
Could the Riveteers have had a change of heart? I mean, I know some nomad packs tend to get rougher around the edges if they change leadership or something of the sort.
I don't see why they would. I mean, they have a very good deal with the Ophidian clan. If it weren't for the Ophidian clan, I mean, the Riveteers, it would take them a whole half a week or longer to get back to town. They cut about that much time off of their trip traveling through the canyon. It wouldn't make any sense for them to make that territory dangerous for them. I don't know why they would move against the Ophidian clan at all. It's very profitable. I mean, their poisons and arrows are rarer in the areas where the Riveteers go, so they surely make good profit off of that.
Well, are we sure that this man is in fact a Riveteer? I mean, is there anybody who could recognize him from the clan? I don't know how badly his face is damaged.
I didn't recognize him. I didn't get too good a look at the face. I mean, I suppose, yeah, it's possible that. I mean, if Theophidian shot this man, I'm sure they had good reason, but also I don't see why the nomads would do. And then why would he come here?
Sure.
Well, I seem to recall Miss Green mentioning that Riveteers were more than a few days late.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. They should have been in town, 4 or 5 days ago.
It seems there's something going on down in Snake Eye Canyon that warrants investigation. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, is there a local marshal or sheriff to take on the job?
Oh my God, Ken.
No, we don't have a marshal. We don't have a sheriff. We don't even have a mayor. I mean, it's between me and Miss Green. He says, like, gesturing to Michelle, who's just kind of been sitting there quietly watching. It's between me and Miss Green to keep things in order around here. And she nods at that and says, well, seems to me we got some drifters on hand. Sounds like a job for drifters.
That was sort of my thought exactly. I say pointedly, it can.
And Father Well sits there for a second. He goes, we wouldn't have much to offer you in payment. I could see what the town's willing to scrounge together.
If you don't mind, if we'd take that, whatever could be salvaged from that car.
He like sits there pondering for a second, and then like almost as if like impatiently with him like thinking it through, like Michelle Green goes, yes, of course, yes. that seems more than a fair trade. And Father Wells goes, yes. I'm sorry, I was just contemplating the repairs that need to be done to the Douglas house. And Michelle goes,
I guarantee step one is get the car out there, Walt.
She goes, they run a we can talk to Russell. He can put them on a nice fair deal for some supplies to repair their home. These drifters offering to do this for some scavenged parts from a car. That seems like a very good deal to me, Father. And he nods and goes, yes, of course. And she goes, now, way I see it, we got to talk the townsfolk into this, get their blessing. And Father Wells goes, that's right. The meeting we called, it's going to be coming up here. 3 of you, I would not recommend attend. We try to keep these more or less within the town folk. I'm sure you could enjoy some time spent next door at the saloon. And then Michelle goes, or they could get a head start on scavenging that car and hitting the road.
That's my thoughts exactly, Miss Green.
And Wells goes, yes, okay, yeah, yes. This sounds like the best course of action.
I agree.
Thank you for your blessing, Father.
Oh, yes. And he like does like a triangular shape in the air. He goes,
that's fine.
Yeah, he does a little triangle in the air, and he goes, be safe. I'm sure by the time you're done taking apart the car for whatever it may have, the townsfolk will finish their meeting, so you might get a bit of attention on your way out of town. But between myself and Miss Green, I think we can convince them that this is the wisest course of action.
Sounds great. Well, there's nothing else. I'm going to start taking apart a battle wagon.
He
He
nods. And they kind of start talking to each other as the three of you are walking out, unless any of you have anything else you want to do or say while you're in the church.
Nope.
I don't know if Mr. Russell has a stock of cartridge players, but I would appreciate if part of my payment could be in that player.
Wells seems confused, but Michelle goes,
if it could be negotiated, just to bring it up.
Maybe there's one in the car.
I'll
No, probably not.
I'll
We
talk.
probably got destroyed in the crash.
I'll talk to Duke.
Thanks very much.
And like Wells looks a little confused and like starts to say something to her, and she goes, "No, don't even." She's like, "Bobby," and he goes, "Oh." And he goes, "Well, that's great." As you guys walk out, and you can hear a whole commotion over at the saloon, people like arguing and talking loudly, and then you see the kind of rubble of the car crashed into the home to the south of town.
Yeah, on our way over there, I will, like, very quietly, so that no one else who may or may not be listening can hear, I will do a goddamn thorough sweep for Alma.
Go ahead and roll observe.
My high is 13.
You're up against the 7.
I got 2 net hits over 7.
Okay. So as you're making your way, you do look towards the saloon, and you see Alma is there on the on like the front porch of the saloon, alongside the young man who was identified as Kyle Jr. He's about like 16 or 17. There's another young girl there who's about 13-ish, you'd say. And there's a point where you can see Alma's like starting to like sneak away from them as they're talking, and then like a woman who you think is like at most 20, maybe 19, shouts and goes, "Alma!" And she snaps back. She goes, "Yes." "Yes, Sarah." And she like looks back to you like she wants to go with you, but she's been caught.
Great. Sure that no one is around eavesdropping, I will just very quietly, "Hey, Ken? Your first instinct cannot be to bring cops to us."
I only asked about them because if the cops were around, then we could study a hasty boat out of town, and the cops could take care of the problem. They didn't even have to worry about it,
Hey, Ken, we got, I think, if my count is right, 8 spurs between us.
All right, that's fair enough.
I'm just asking that you keep some more details in the back of your mind at all times.
For somebody who's new at this drifting thing, pretty good at it. I never got into drifting for money. It's definitely.
Well, here's the thing, Ken. Drifter and grifter is just one letter.
That's clever. Do you mind if I give that to Bobby? I think I could write that.
I do mind. I do mind a lot.
Also, everyone can have a grit for excellent role playing so far. Pax, you pull the truck around to the wreckage?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you guys are trying to salvage this vehicle, you can roll a machinery test.
Can I help?
You can.
I mean, like, I might be.
You roll a
help.
machinery test, yeah.
I mean,
Could she
There's a
assist with
chance.
athletics? Because the car needs to be moved.
Not really.
I tried.
All right. I got 2 hits.
2 hits for Kinsey as well.
So that's a +4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. There is specifically like a vehicle mechanic town, right? That's not covered by blacksmith or gadgeteer.
Correct.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's 4 hits.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, maybe more. 5 hits.
Yeah, like.
All right. So you're able to get 5 machinery cubes. And doing that takes you. Oh, not that. Nope. That's how long it takes to craft a car. Doing that is going to take you a few hours to get those 5 machinery cubes.
Sure.
You think there might be more to salvage, but by the time the few hours is over, the meeting has been adjourned. You're in the middle of like messing with things, and you see that short woman start like marching her way towards you, and almost like out of nowhere, you see Mother Lewis kind of like slide in and like start talking to them and like seeming to offer them something, and she's like looking around, and like Mother Lewis is very calmly and gently like talking to this woman, and then the slightly older gentleman, she, like the 60-year-old guy is like hand on the shoulder and is like, like trying to calm her down, and she's like, you can kind of hear her. She's like, "What do you mean you just let them into our house? What do you mean? We have our work in there. What if can we trust these people?" And then they respond calmly, and then basically it goes on for a little bit, and then eventually it seems like Mother Lewis is able to like slowly start inching them away from their own home and move them to another part of town. So you can continue crafting without her messing with you. But the Burns family does come by. They live across the street. And Peter Burns steps up to you and he goes, "I hope I'm not interrupting."
No, it's fine. I'm just taking apart this engine.
Well, Miss...
I just hold the wrenches. It's fine.
Miss Patty, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you did.
You're welcome.
It was very brave. And then from like behind with her mother, Alma's like, "And cool." Very brave and cool, he says.
Thank you. I imagine anyone would have done the same.
He shrugs and goes, "I don't have to imagine, because you did it. Thank you." And he reaches out his hand to shake yours.
I do. I shake it.
Every time I reach out my hand to shake yours, I'm like, how scared is Pax gonna be? Shakes your hand, clasps it in both hands, and then Alma breaks away from her mother and runs up and like hugs your leg and says, "Patty, you're my best friend. Don't tell Sarah."
I will not tell Sarah. And I just pat her on the head awkwardly.
And then he's like, "All right, come on, Alma. Come on. Let them work." And then Helen Burns walks up to you and says, Thank you again. I hear the 3 of you are heading to Snake Eye Canyon."
That is the plan, as long as the town's all right with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely brave. We don't know what's going on down there. I can't imagine the Riveteers or the Ophidians would do something like this. They've had a strong partnership for some time. I guess I'm just saying, be careful. It'd be a shame if something happened to you. You seem like kind folk.
Well, we'll do our best to stay safe and figure out what's going on.
I'm hoping maybe this could be helpful. And she pulls out a vial. She goes, "There's plenty of poisonous critters and whatnot in Snake Eye Canyon. This is an antidote. Might help along the way."
Hopefully, we won't have to use it. Thank you.
And she sits there for a second and then gives you a hug, Pax.
I pat her awkwardly.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And then she joins her family as they walk inside.
Are you gonna need this ratchet, or can I put it away?
Ratchet.
Yeah, so after a few hours, you get 5 machinery cubes from this car. There's probably more that you could salvage, but it would take more time, so it's up to you guys.
This car was like totally wrecked. There was no saving this in terms of like making it functional again.
Yeah, it was totally scrap.
All right. Well, I mean, what time of day is it?
It's starting to get close to like dark. You think you have a few hours of sunlight left.
Hmm.
And
I ain't exactly keen to head out, right at nightfall.
That's fair enough.
I mean, if there's a little bit more, metaphorical meat on this bone, I think, I spend a little bit more of the night.
Say, is there an operational cartridge player?
Nah, it's totally smashed. I looked.
Bummer.
It was obliterated.
No, that's all right. If we get enough machinery cubes, maybe I'll just make one.
Sure.
Well, we have to use it to repair the car first, so.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And yeah, so if you guys want to keep salvaging, go ahead and roll another another machinery test. As a group.
I'm bored. This is boring.
Pax is just sitting there now.
That's 2 hits.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a pot or two that isn't smashed.
Pax.
You're gonna steal some. You're gonna put some pots in your truck.
Yeah.
Okay. They're fine. They're nicely made, like pots. It's a couple.
I'm not stealing art. It's just a pot.
I mean,
There's no evidence.
They're kind of artistic pots. They're decorative.
The room was entirely smashed. She hasn't had the option to take an inventory yet. I'm taking a pot.
Yeah, sure.
See if you can find one big enough to grow a jumping yucky seed.
I will not.
It's 2 hits.
Okay. That's the grand total. So that's 2 more machinery cubes for you there. And it's going to take you a few more hours. You think there's still probably some more to salvage, but it's now dark, and Pax has stuck a pot behind her seat in the truck, and you're just filling the bed of the truck with a bunch of like scraps and salvage that you're like kind of organizing, different like small pieces and larger pieces of the truck. And as you're kind of working on it, it's dark. You hear movement, and you look, and that 60-year-old guy steps around and goes, "Sorry. We need some. We're staying at the church tonight."
Ah, right. Yeah. Sorry, Tommy. Based on the time, like, is it venturing into like work through the night to salvage the rest of this car, or is it like still a reasonable time?
It's taking you about 3 hours per salvaging attempt. So now it is the sun has set.
10 or 11 at night.
Cool. I'm not gonna lose sleep over the last couple of cubes on this car.
Cool.
But maybe we tell him to like leave the rest of the car, and we'll get the rest when we come back.
So he's like, he just kind of
Yeah.
sits there and awkwardly says,
Listen, we're just about done in here for now. We're
What
gonna
do you
get the-
need? That way you don't have to go into the rubble. I'm happy to grab it for you.
In the back, the bedroom, there's a cabinet and a sink. I was hoping to get our toothbrush and maybe some pillows and blankets, so we can rest a little more comfortably.
Yeah, sure. Do you have like a hope chest or anything?
Um, I mean, he kind of sits there and he goes, "I'm fine with it staying. Like all of our the house isn't coming down, is it?"
No, I can. I'll be right back, and I will get like all of the bedding and all of the toiletries, and I'll put the toiletries in a pillowcase, and then I'll like wrap the pillowcase up, and then get spare clothes and like put it all in like a makeshift like laundry bag and then I'll just bring it all over, and I'll be like, I'll carry this over to the church for you if you like.
While Pax is in there, like collecting all the things, he's kind of sitting there watching like Roland and Kinsey finishing up like, this round of salvaging, and he's kind of standing there awkwardly. And he goes, "Really hit the house, huh?"
Yeah, just sort of dead on.
You don't think he was aiming for us, do you?
No, he were dead.
That makes sense.
Listen, I have met some people who ain't a fan of the arts, but none so rancorous as to drive a car into it.
Well, he certainly did a number on my pottery. It's unfortunate. It's how we make our living, The paintings are nice, but not functional, And so the pots kind of keep it at a steady interim. But I guess it don't matter because the nomad pack's not coming through now. So this town kind of relies on the nomads, kind of a lot. So I guess I hope y'all can sort it out. Do you have history with the Ophidian clan?
Not personally, no. But I can tell you that every obstacle the three of us have come into contact with, we have overcome. So,
Yeah. Well, I've met a few drifters in my time, and y'all seem cut of the same cloth. So, here's hoping y'all can figure out whatever's going on and sort it out. I mean, we need our trade. This town won't last even a full season without the nomad packs trading our what we make here. We don't have people coming through very often, so we mostly just send our wares off to other settlements. I guess, everyone seems very confident in the talents of a drifter, so I suppose I am too. I think you guys are going to do fine.
well, I appreciate that. We'll certainly do our best.
Yeah.
And just from experience, our best is very good.
Well, we're going to be staying in the church tonight, so he's just kind of like shuffling awkwardly, waiting for Pax to come back.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Right, yeah.
If there's anything on the like bedside tables, I also grab that.
And then yes, you create a sack of love, according to our stream chat, and you carry it out and hand it over.
No, he's
Oh,
old. I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
carry it for him.
He's only 60, but yeah.
Ancient.
I
Yeah.
think if I can, while Pax is doing it, I'd like to drop by the laundry before they go to bed and pick up my armor.
Sure, yeah.
Unless it is too late and I should do.
No, I
But
mean, they
think
still
we
got
can
lights
get
on in
that
the
stuff.
house. They still got lights on in the house. It's not super late. So you knock on the door, and there's a slight, a little bit of a pause, and then you can see Pax carrying the supplies up to the church with Kyle Douglas. and the door opens up, and you see Helen is there, and she goes, "Mr. Charlotte."
Yes, hello, Miss Burns. Mrs. Burns. So sorry to be dropping by so late in the evening. I was wondering if I could pick up my armor. I figured we'd be getting an early start. Didn't want to wake you too early.
That makes sense. Peter has it all over here. Come in.
No. Excellent, thank you.
Did you need anything? You've been working for 6 hours straight on that car. You need anything to drink? Anything I can get you? She says as she goes over to a little area where there's you've entered into her home. It's kind of like a nice little living room and like a kitchen, and then you can see the kitchen has several washing units kind of stacked up, and she goes over to a cabinet basically and slides it open and goes in. It's kind of a little walk-in closet, and she comes out with your armor as she's talking.
If you've got a cup of Hodag milk, that would go down easy. Help me get a little bit.
Sure thing. And she sets down the armor. She goes, "Try it on. Make sure we didn't mess with any of the stitches or anything. We tried to reinforce it where we could, make it a little more sturdy and make it hang on you a little more snugly. But let me know if you need any alterations. I do believe Mr. Tanaka is still awake. He's the town tailor. He could make any adjustments if we bungle the job. We only try to stick to the stitching that's already there."
Of course.
And she, as she says this, she pours a glass of milk and sets it down for you.
How does the armor fit?
Fits fine. Yeah. They didn't like she said. They didn't make any crazy alterations. It was just the parts that were kind of spread on the stitching. She kind of reinforced a little bit. But it fits fine. Fits like a glove.
Yeah, just brand new. Thank you so much, Mrs. Brown. Appreciate it.
Of course. And don't worry about the charge or anything like that. It's
No. It's no trouble at all.
I must insist. If it weren't for you and your friends, I don't even want to think about what this night would be like. So
that's very kind.
Please be safe out there.
I will do my best and take care. I'm sure we'll be able to solve this mystery and keep your family safe.
And she nods at that. You finish your milk, and she she sees you out, and as she opens the door and Kinsey walks out, she gives a polite little wave to Roland.
I think I'm Pax walked away. Kinsey went to go get his armor. Pliers. Pliers. Oh, come on, guys. I know it ain't fun, but are you serious right now?
So you're looking around in the toolbox for the pliers. You see the door open and you see Kinsey walk out, and he's got a little bit of a milk mustache, and Miss Burns gives you a polite wave. And she shuts the door.
Well, if you're about to wrap up here, I suppose I can grab a bed, unless, you need somebody to keep handing you tools.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. All right, well, take it easy, and we'll talk about those cubes in the morning. And Kinsey leaves to go to the...
Yeah.
And he's not a monster. He'll pay for 3 rooms.
Well, you already paid for it.
No, we already paid for a room.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. So.
That was today.
That happened way earlier, way before a car crash. Pax, you and Kinsey meet on the road as you're leaving the church. Kinsey's walking up from the Douglas house.
Is Roland done?
Oh, he's finishing up. Very graciously offered to finish up the job.
Oh, okay. Great. I was getting pretty bored. That's...
No kidding. I mean, it's just tedious work watching him.
Oh, I mean, at least you know what's going on. I'm just a glorified toolbox, I guess.
But you did hold that flashlight, right? Very.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, like, you know, uh, uh, exercise, because
Yeah, sure. Pax, might as well. I know that we'll be rushed in the morning. I did want to give you something.
Okay.
And Kinsey will, I assume he put his pack up in the room, so he'll go and unpack the finished bow and then give it to Pax.
Nice. It's is it an excellent quality or
It is
excellent quality heavy projectile? Does that
excellent quality heavy projectile with an excellent quality laser sight and regular quality dual purpose mortification.
Nice.
So you can hit people with it too. I thought it might be nice. Arrow, not doing you any good without a bow.
Oh, Kinsey, this is really nice.
Well, I know we've had our differences, and I feel bad about them, and I have trouble saying things with words, so I figured I'd give you a gift.
Thank you. You went above and beyond what I asked.
Thank you for being a friend.
You're welcome, Kinsey. Roland's gonna want the bottom bunk, I think, if you want to take the top. I'm gonna sleep in the truck.
Oh, all right. Well, sleep well, and do you need a pillow? You can have one of mine.
My understanding was it was 2 bunk beds.
No, it's just a room with 2 bunks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm all right. I prefer the car.
All right. Well, sleep well.
I'll see you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
I was getting so ready for Pax and Kinsey to fall asleep on the bunk bed, and then Roland come in and go, just one bunk, just one bunk bed.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over with my new cool bow. I'm gonna go over to Roland, and be like,
yeah, I have hitched up the remains of this car and made sure that pulling it out of their home is not going to bring down the home.
Sure.
And I'm towing it to somewhere where I can leave it and meet up with the father and tell him hey, there's a little bit more on there. If it's all right with you, I'd like to finish up on this when we get back to town. But we're gonna get an early start in the morning, so I gotta call it for tonight.
So you hitch it up to your guys' truck and pull it out of the house. And then you drive up towards the church. And Roland, when you open the church doors, almost the whole town looks back at you as they are in the middle of a sermon.
Great.
And Father Wells doesn't stop talking immediately. He kind of finishes what he was saying. He's like, and so we must all remember to be as generous as possible in such moments. Mr. Harris.
Don't mind me. I was just gonna park the wreck in the back, if that's fine.
He goes, oh, and then Duke goes, we can go ahead and pull it up nearby the general store. We can park it on the side there. That probably is the best place for it. So let it be so and all that. He steps out with you, Roland, and you can tell he's a little bit eager to leave church early.
Yeah, great. Let it be so.
Now, if you can all open the verity of, and then the door shuts. Thanks for the rescue. I go to the triptych sermons from time to time. I want to be part of the community and whatnot, but I'm an Australian man myself.
I ain't familiar with that faith. Is it local or what's the story there?
You probably do you have know it all yet? Do you automatically get one hit on lore?
No, but I have extremely good lore.
Yeah, so you've definitely have heard of the Australian religion, regardless of how familiar you are with it. It's a prominent enough religion on Manifest that you've heard of it, whether or not you know any of its like stuff.
Sure. I say the same thing.
Yeah. And like as he kind of like joins you in the car as you like drive across the street, and then he like helps you kind of like push the remains of the car into position. He goes, it's well, where to begin? It's a study of the stars and the self, more or less. Lessons to be learned. You see, and he kind of points up to the night sky, and he goes, back before the departure, the elders opened up the pathway from our home world to manifest as some people think as a sort of test for humanity. And well, the elders, you can see them there in the sky. There's the Ache. We got a jackalope and a hound over there. They all represent different aspects of the personality, what makes you human, and well, the aspects themselves, they have both good and bad in them, and you just gotta be mindful of how that relates to you. The Ache is strong but also stubborn, and Jackalope is full of love but victim to lust. And the Hound is brave, but oftentimes will not allow itself to be as fearful as it must be. Or at least admit it's as fearful as it is at times. But that's the short answer to it. It's the triptych, sure. I mean, they study what it means to be perfect, but well, we Australians, we understand that no one entity is perfect. There's good and evil in all, and you just need to find balance.
Well said, Duke.
Nah, I mean, Mother Lewis does it better. If you're back in town in 2 days' time, she's holding a sermon. We like to go out behind the church, and we take a look at the stars and commune with the elders. You should come by sometime.
Well, I got some things on the calendar. Might have to, I'll see what I can do.
Sure. Anywho, glad to be rid of another triptych sermon. They like to talk. Australians' practice is much more meditative. But
so there's a little bit more we'd like to salvage off this car, but we're trying to get an early start in the morning. I don't want to go too much longer. Plus, I figured get out of their house sooner rather than later.
Yep.
If you don't mind us leaving it here, figure out what's going on, come on back and finish up.
Honestly, I mean, looks like you got a lot of it. I could use what's left as a kind of a start to putting back their house. They were talking my ear off before church started about me tending to it and trying to cut them some kind of deal. And I want to be fair and whatnot, but I got a business to run. You want me just to pay you for what's left here?
Yeah, I suppose that'll work for us.
All right, and he kind of like looks at it and like hammers on it a couple times with his knuckles, and like kind of pulls on some stuff, and he goes, "So you get about 3 more cubes out of this thing. So how about I give you 4 spurs for it?"
Any chance you could go up to 5 there, Duke?
Yeah, go ahead and roll manipulate. You're up against a 9.
I got 3 net hits over a 9.
He goes, "Oh, well, I mean, I guess labor is labor. I'm going to be working on the house anyway, so yeah, 5 spurs at least saves me a little bit."
I appreciate it. We're a bit on the back foot financially.
No, I mean, hey,
every little bit helps.
I understand. It's brave what you're doing, heading down to those Ophidians. I never did quite trust them. They always, the way they hang out in that canyon and just kind of spook anyone who's walking through, makes me nervous.
Well, people's people, regardless of where they is.
Yeah, I mean, I get it and whatnot, but I like a good roof over my head. These folks down there in the canyon, I mean, ain't no way to live. Oh, I guess you do get a good view of the stars, though.
It seems like they're doing pretty well for themselves, from what I hear. So,
well, anyways, I'm gonna turn in for the night. I'm sure Lola Douglas is gonna be pounding on my door as soon as the sun crests over that hill.
Well, I wish you luck on that, sir. But hopefully, I'll see you in a few days.
All right. And he goes to the door and turns back and goes, "Let it be so."
And also with you.
You get a good as he slams the door behind him.
Yeah, I'll pull the car around in front of the.
Cool. So yeah, Pax, you come out of the saloon as Roland is pulling the car away from the general store, the truck away from the general store.
Away from the general store?
Yeah.
Or up to the general store?
Away from
a U-turn.
Yeah. He's pulling.
Oh.
He's pulling away from the general store and driving towards the saloon.
Sure. I'll wait for him to drive up.
Yeah, I do.
And this Kinsey made me a bow.
Yeah, I know.
It's really nice.
He does good work.
He forgot that I asked him to make a bow.
I stand by what I said.
I'm not mad. It's fine. I just really wanted to share with someone.
I get it.
Okay.
Did you come out to the truck for that?
No, I'm sleeping in the truck tonight. There's only 2 bunk beds. Unless you want to snuggle. We're
Come on, 2 bunks clearly implies 2 sets of bunk beds. Am I crazy?
It's fine. It's probably just as comfy in the truck.
All right. Well, if you're fine here, I guess I'll go sleep in one of the 2 bunks, even though that don't make sense.
Do not get uppity. They already don't like us here.
I don't think that's true.
Town leadership's fine, but I don't think we've made any friends.
Well, we ain't made any enemies, and that's a pretty good track record for us based on recent experience.
So the bunk thing, don't make a thing of it. Let's not make enemies.
I wasn't gonna. This is like Kinsey forgetting to the you asked for a bow. This is
Here's the thing.
Me and you.
Yeah, but if you had said something to Kinsey, then it could become a thing. So I was just making sure we were on the same page. I don't know.
Come on, it's been how long? 4 weeks? We've been traveling together.
Longer than it's been a couple months now.
Okay. 8 weeks we've been traveling together.
I get it. I stand by what I said.
All right. Well, have a good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
I go sleep in one of the 2 bunks.
So salt.
Cool. So everyone, you get to rest up for the night. Pax, while you're sleeping in the truck, It's very nice. It's not that it's not super comfy, but nothing else happens.
I thought for sure Alma was.
Mm-hmm.
Best friend. No. Nothing happens. The saloon, the Pax, actually all three of you, Kinsey and Roland while you're upstairs, and Pax while you're parked out front of the saloon, as the night like wanes on and like the town kind of like settles down, the last thing you hear before you all drift off to sleep is just the soft chords of Bobby Klein strumming out an evening tune inside the saloon alone.
Roll up the windows.
Good stuff.
I don't need a bard.
I refuse to toss a spur to him.
Toss a spur to your Kinsey. Toss a spur to your drifter, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. So the morning comes, and it is good. I assume you guys are waking up really early and trying to leave before the town really wakes up.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. You can achieve that. You are all experienced travelers, even though Kinsey's the only one with that specific talent. But you are all able to wake up. The only person, Bobby is asleep in the corner of the saloon, like hugging his guitar.
Oh, stop.
And you see sitting and looking at like an LRC printout. Michelle Green is like sipping on some coffee as Roland and Kinsey, you come downstairs, and she like gives you a nod and goes, "Good luck."
Thanks.
And as she folds it up, she goes, calls out after you like, "Y'all ever dealt with the Ophidians before, or any tribes for that matter?
Well,
Badlands?"
Badlands tribe to myself.
All right. Well, they have the Ophidian clan. They have 3 leaders. That's who you're gonna want to try and speak to. But if you have experience with Badlands tribes, then you know they usually need you to kind of prove yourself in some way. So just be respectful and don't hurt their pride, and they'll let you do whatever it is you got to do to win them over and prove that you come to them with good intentions. And then, from what I've heard, they are quite reasonable.
Hey, there ain't any like cultural taboos that are easily stumbled into. Like, this is a bad example, right? Like, if you like shake hands with your left hand, like that's a great offense or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Great.
I never dealt with the Ophidians myself. Father Wells has a handful of times, and so has Mother Lewis. I know they've spoken with them from time to time, and maybe a few other folk in town have some experience with them. But I myself, I stay here. I got enough trouble in here, so.
Does she pointedly look to the corner where Bob sleep?
She you can see her not looking. You see her making herself not look at Bobby when she says that.
Oh, all right. Thanks for the tip. Appreciate it.
Do I know what that triumvirate of leaders is called? A chance if I make a roll.
Yeah. Did you already rolled on the Ophidians, right? You got 3 successes.
3 hits, yes.
You don't know their names or anything, but you know that they're the leadership of the Ophidians. There's usually a hunter who's in charge of basically taking the parties out and hunting and kind of venturing out from the tribal home, like, or at least like, you know, into the like more dangerous parts of the canyons. And then there's a spiritual leader who's in charge of like maintaining the like various homes of the tribesfolk, and like kind of providing like, you know, spiritual and religious guidance as well as tending to any of their sick. And then there's also a crafter who basically like, you know, makes the homes that are carved into the sides of like caves and in the sides of the canyons, and like provides like all the logistical support for the hunters and like anyone at home, and just like, you know, makes the clothes, like is in charge of like leading people, like teaching, passing on the knowledge of how to like craft the arrows, how to craft the bows. For the Ophidians in particular, he passes on the knowledge of how to like safely handle the poison that they use, that kind of thing.
Cool.
So I think that we'll get in the car and head out.
Yeah. You easily can start pulling out of town, start driving south towards where you know the Snake Eye Canyon to be. I'm gonna answer a question in the chat real quick. So tribes in Manifest, the question is, are these humans, aliens, or mutants?
Great question.
I think it's because
I love that spread of options.
It's because your question was like weird, like cultural taboos and stuff like that. It's like, is it just a different culture, or is it like a different species? No, so they are human. The tribes on Manifest descend from people. Basically, when the wormhole opened up, there was a large amount of humanity who thought that like the over-industrialization and over-development of their home world is what kind of like led it to be in the state that it was, which was not so great. So they saw Manifest as like a new chance for like humanity to like learn to live off the land and learn to live in harmony with nature, not in spite of nature. And so those people, they landed on Manifest. They were some of the first people who landed alongside like the factory towns and everyone else, and the prospectors looking for luminescence. But everyone basically at the beginning, they kind of like stuck around the factory towns, stuck around the areas where there were a lot of spaceports, and a lot of people stayed in their ships like in orbit. But these kind of like naturalists, when they got to Manifest, they kind of eschewed all of like their like, you know, high tech stuff, and kind of decided, like, went together and kind of spread out throughout the globe, learning to live off of the land. So, you know, it's been like 400 years since the departure, and a couple hundred years after the departure, basically, people started, you know, leaving the factory towns, setting up settlements, stuff like that. Like more so than just like nearby, like people started going further out, and then they started to discover the descendants of these people who have learned to like basically be one with the nature on Manifest. And so the tribes, they're like their own separate culture, and they are extremely useful for people who are not familiar with the land. They have more of a connection to Manifest than anyone else, because their ancestors made it like their whole like goal to like learn to commune with Manifest's nature and learn to live amongst it. So that's what the tribes are. And this is the Ophidian clan, who we know just a little bit about so far, as we've learned throughout this session. And so, yeah, you guys are heading south towards the Snake Eye Canyon. It's actually pretty easy driving. And I think it's time for Shoot the Shit.
Here we go.
The canyon is, it's going to take you basically like about the better part of the day. You'll probably want to set up camp like a good distance away from the canyon, and then head to the canyon at first light, so that you're not like going into the canyon at nightfall. Though you could get to the canyon like in the middle of the night if you really wanted to, but I just am assuming that you don't want to do that. But it's up to you guys. If you want to sneak around at night, you can get there late at night.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
That doesn't seem like a diplomatic mission to me, Tommy.
I don't know.
Because
Cool.
that's what we are now. We're diplomats, guys.
Honestly,
Hey. From bandits to diplomats.
I blend in.
So yeah, I think we're gonna do a little bit of shoot the shit here. Each one of you can pick another player and roll your personality as an attribute only test, and see if you learn something about each other, or if you bond over something, or if something goes wrong between the two of you. So
No, you got that.
yeah. I'm also before we start this, I'm going to give everyone a grit. I know I already gave you guys a grit for excellent roleplay, but technically Pax was in a life-threatening situation as a car came barreling down and she saved the life of a little girl, and that feels like maybe you guys should get some grit for that. So there you go.
yay!
Also, did I get away with breaking the law?
I mean, you did steal.
Cool. Did I take
Yeah, you
something I
definitely
want
did.
but didn't deserve?
Yeah, you stole Kyle Douglas Sr.'s most prized pot.
I didn't take his most prized pot.
No, it had a bunch of weed in it, you see.
Hey.
And then I was threatened with violence, and Alma was threatened with violence, right?
Yeah.
Great.
So
That's 3 XP.
3 XP, and Pax, you get another grit.
I'm at 7 grit. I'm almost there.
And patience was rewarded by taking apart that truck, wasn't it? Because we
Yeah.
did spend the extra time to get more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's all I've got. I can't give us another grit. So give myself another grit value.
Yeah, I don't think my other two are gonna have. Unless, Kinsey, you've got to get upset at me.
Well, we'll see how this roll goes.
I think I picked Kinsey last time? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. That was forever ago.
So it doesn't really matter.
Who's picking
I
who?
think I'm going to pick Roland anyway.
Okay, Kinsey picks Roland.
It's so hard to pick who I want to be better friends with, because that's what this role is. I'll pick Pax.
Okay, and Pax.
I'll pick Kinsey.
All right, everyone roll.
Personality +4 is the target.
Yes. So who wants to go first?
Well, surprising no one. I have rolled 5 hits.
Okay, and you picked Pax, right? So
Yeah.
You and Pax bond over something. You guys are setting up camp out about like a few hours drive away from the entrance to the Snake Eye Canyon.
How was the bunk bed?
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
It's not what I prefer. I miss having a bed that is mine and not anyone else's.
Okay. Do you want to build a thing on the back of the truck?
No. I mean, a lot of it is the bed that is mine and no one else. But, part of it is sort of what that means, right? It's a place that's mine. And I don't have to leave it all the time.
If you had a bed in the back of the truck, you wouldn't have to leave it all the time. We bring a truck everywhere.
Yeah, but one time I got thrown from the truck.
Well, there would be a roof this time, so you'd just hit the roof if there was another
I
loss.
might
I see
die.
yeah, nope, I get it.
It turned out to be better that I was thrown from the whole truck and not just into the roof of the camper I've
That
built
was
on the back.
really something to see. You just
Yeah.
like just like skipping rocks, just across the sand.
I mean, I don't know if I have the supplies on hand for it, but I could build you one of these if you want.
He says, gesturing to his grav stability harness.
I mean, it couldn't hurt to have a spare.
Wait, do you already have one?
No, but between the two of us, I mean,
right, sure.
also
yes.
Kinsey is it's probably for Kinsey, because there's a good enough chance that if we're climbing something, I'm not falling, but he.
Sure. I mean, listen. I understand that not everyone has the means to obtain a grav stability harness, but I truly believe in my heart that I fear for anyone who does anything on this world without one.
I appreciate that. I'll take you up on that offer if it ever comes that you just have bare tech cubes.
Yeah, I'll start drawing something up, see what I can do.
Yeah. I can't make you anything, but like
That's fine.
I'll keep like keeping you out of danger.
Yeah, that's sort of
Is that good payment, I guess?
Yeah, I like this arrangement wherein I build things and sometimes talk to people, and then when there's actual real mortal danger running us down, I just stand behind you and Kinsey.
Yeah. It feels like friendship. Are we friends? Are we friends now?
I mean, I consider you a friend. Just based on the record of things we've done together, if we weren't friends, it would be astonishing.
Well, I mean, like, you probably have, like, lots of friends.
I mean, not really. I have a lot of people I'm friendly with, right? Just because I'm very personable. But, I don't spend a lot of time with anyone for very long. It's sort of, again, the nature of my skill set is to get somewhat close to people over a relatively short amount of time and then take their money and leave.
Yeah, I usually skip the whole getting to know them part. Just take their money and leave.
Well, you certainly cut out what I would consider the fun part, but
I'm just not good at it. I admire Kinsey because he just like goes for it. And it's too risky to just talk to people, I admire that about both of you. I mean, Kinsey's not great at it, but like, man, he has gusto.
He's certainly doing everything at 100%. I mean, you're not. Here's the thing, Pax. You're not bad at talking to people, right? Because we're having a conversation, and you're fine.
Well, but you're not a danger.
I don't think very many people are a danger to you. Just based on everything going on in this zone.
Well, I don't want to hurt anybody.
Right, but you could if you had to.
But I don't want to have to.
Well, I don't think you will have to very often, just because you talk to them.
Maybe. Maybe we could work on that.
Yeah, you know, we'll find something easy, like I don't know, like just a person at a bar, and like you can just get to know them, and it'll be very low stakes, and a slip of the tongue won't result in you and me and Kinsey being shot in our sleep by a murderous gang, or immediately arrested by a marshal, or anything like that. It'll just be extremely low stakes. Right, because that's sort of the situation we were working in for the past 8 weeks.
Yeah. Maybe you could just keep doing the talking, and I'll do the whole.
I mean,
Not-
listen. This is what I'm saying. Fine, you let me scout out something low stakes that you can handle.
Okay.
It's think of it like stealing, right? Except instead of stealing money, you're stealing their history. Yes, I stand by that.
I really thought you were gonna say trust.
No. You never steal anyone's trust. That they have to give you.
Oh. Huh.
Then Kinsey like taps on the on the like side of the window from the back where he's like crafting, and is like points out a spot would be good for camping as the sun is finally like disappears behind the mountains.
I pull a J-turn. No, just kidding.
Kinsey goes flying, and he doesn't have a draft stability harness.
Yeah, I told you Kinsey would need it.
So Pax, you picked Kinsey, right?
I did.
How many successes did you roll?
1.
Okay, so Kinsey, you get to learn something about Pax. I think maybe it's like a little bit later in the night. I don't know what's got Roland busy. Maybe it's just
I'm probably working on my Omni tool. Like a lot of my downtime is taken up.
Yeah, sure. So you've gone like they're sitting by the campfire still. You've gone and like into the back of the truck, and you're working on it. And
I know I can't count on either of them to hand me tools as I need them.
Yeah. So Kinsey and Pax, you have a moment alone, kind of nearby the fire, a good like 8 to 10 feet away from the truck where Roland has a couple lights set up and is working on a little workbench he's propped up. And Kinsey, yeah, you get to learn something about Pax.
Cool. That sounds great. I want to know about Pax.
And Pax, if you have any suggestions, also you can. It doesn't have to be straight up Kinsey asking you a direct question. It can be a thing that he learns through common conversation.
Also true.
Do you think we need to like, I don't know, like build a trench around it, the fire, so it doesn't like light us on fire or something? Just like with wind. I don't know.
I suppose I could do that if that's something you're worried about, you know.
I mean, is that a thing?
Small fire.
Is that a thing that you're supposed to do? Or
I'd say for a single night's camp fire of this size, sure that it's necessary. You know, usually setting up a camp, and that's like your base of operations that you'd be there for a week, 2 or several, then a trench would be useful. But, I mean, if it makes you feel safer there, got the time and the shovel.
I literally have no idea. So if you think we don't need it, then
Have you not spent any time in the wild at all? I mean, I'm not judging at all, just curious, you know. I know some people tend to stay near the towns and settlements and cities.
yeah. Well, I have spent about 3 hours outside in nature longer than you have known me to.
And why is that? Is that just not something you enjoy?
I mean, I grew up in Alanisted,
Ah,
and then I was indentured to a area that was like not in Alanisted, but was like really close.
basically, what do they call them? Suburb.
Like urban? Yeah, sure.
Sure.
It's like almost urban, but not really.
Yeah. Like underneath the.
Yeah, it's like a
next to-
lower grade of urban.
Lower grade of urban. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that term.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it was just like, cut lawns and horses and stuff that I did not go close to.
Sure.
So, I mean, a little close because, like, you have to, but, like, that wasn't my job. So,
Understandable.
they're pretty from a far away place.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So
I
haven't really, like I read some books that I stole about being outside because it was cool to like think about, trees and climbing up one and stuff for not an entry point into a home. Just like, but then like, trees out here is like they're gonna like eat you or something. So
well, it's true.
I mean, the ground like tried to eat us the other day. I mean, I know it was a wasp, but like.
Well,
so...
I mean, there is such a thing as a hide behind. I mean, I wouldn't trust the trees.
No, that's not real.
No, it's real. I'm sorry to tell you. Not that there are too many in the Badlands. I mean, they're more forested areas, but they do exist.
So the invisible tree monster that lives in trees and sneaks up on you and then murders you with its like tree claws.
Yeah.
That's real.
Oh yes, very real. I've come upon one or two, and I'll tell you what, they are very difficult to kill.
So far, in addition to like jackalopes and hodags and like the normal stuff, there's murder trees, murder ground.
Two different kinds of murder cats, I think we.
Next thing, you're gonna tell me that like a boo hag is real, and then I'm never going outside again. So just so you calm down.
So
they're not real.
The thing about boo hags, actually.
Kinsey, they're not real.
All right, whatever you need to tell yourself.
No, but are they real? How do you know? Can you see it? Because like it's just like a person. Do you have a boo hag? Could I catch boo hag from you?
Are boo hags a real thing? That's just actually something Seth does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not people. They're more like slug-like creatures.
Like what are those books?
They're Yerks from Animorph.
Yeah.
From Animorphs, yeah. Okay. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, if you want, here, go ahead really quick, Kinsey, roll a survival, and you can have your +2 from experienced traveler.
I just had a rush of everything I remember, like flood through my mind.
I read the 800-page books that was about the Star Alien guy.
Yeah, the Andalites.
Yeah, man, I I do not remember these terms, but yeah, you're great at that. I think that three. I could make it, but I'm going to get it.
So you got 3 successes? Yeah,
Yes.
Boohags are real. They live in the wastes. They require hot humidity and swampland type conditions to survive. The way that they work is they typically crawl into the mouth of their sleeping prey. And then, or in some instances, they're able to bite and paralyze their prey and then climb into the mouth from there. And then they latch into basically a part of the brain and gestate their eggs within their prey as they control their prey. So it's not a person. A boohag is actually a slug-like creature inside a person. The thing is, the people who the bodies that the boohags are in are dead. They're not like people
Right.
who are being controlled. They die and then are
Right.
just animated by the boohag. And the way the reason for that is once the eggs are done growing, the person who has the boohag inside them, the corpse, will basically be able to vomit out the babies to infect more people and create
Sure.
more boohag shambling mounds, basically.
Obviously.
But you also, with 3 successes, you know that not only are they only in the wastes and not in the Badlands, but they don't really like garlic. And that's why almost everywhere in the almost all the cuisine in the wastes is very garlic heavy. It's not a surefire way to repel a boohag, but in general, having a lot of having eaten a bunch of garlic will make a boohag pass you up for someone else.
Amazing. Yeah, all right, solid. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not as though they control the person and they can't tell that it's them. But yeah, boohags are not real. But again, they're in the wastes mostly. They're more arid, not arid, but they're swampy, hot, humid climes. Thank you. So we're safe in the Badlands.
From boohags that are real.
From boohags that are real, and also hide behinds, also real.
Yeah, but they are in the Badlands.
No, well, not really. Mostly in the garden.
Any tree could be a hide behind.
It'd be very unlikely to be in this area in the back. I've never.
Okay, so we just
hide
have to
behind the
worry
back.
about murder ground,
Mhm.
murder cats.
Yes.
Is there other murder stuff?
I mean, the war set was pretty bad, but at least really devastating.
I don't
Huh.
know what he just said. He cut up for me.
Augarino.
Augarino. I'm talking about the Augarino.
Oh.
Which, it's a giant worm thing that'll burst up from the ground and tunnels underneath. Those are
Okay.
those are in the Badlands.
Sure,
Usually,
sure. They say
they-
that an augerino can feel your heartbeat if you're on the ground. Is that true? I'm gonna sleep in the car.
I think that's probably best.
I don't want to know.
All right, and so Roland, you're kind of vacated from the car as Pax starts getting ready for bed in the cab of the car. And then Kinsey, you picked Roland, and how many successes did you roll?
I got 0 hits. As per
Now we
my
got that.
personality of 2.
So something goes wrong between Roland and Kinsey.
I
What is it?
think Kinsey has been very grateful to Roland for his teaching him reading and certain business principles, and so Kinsey would like to teach Roland about surviving in the Badlands. Be here. So, and also Kinsey would like a nice midnight. So, if at all, I don't know if I would need to roll for this, but I think he's going to catch a couple lizards in the Badlands. And the intention is to teach Roland how to, skin and truss. And would I need to roll something for that to survive?
No, I don't think so. I think you can go out in the middle of the night. You can drag Roland out into the middle of the Badlands in the middle of the night to track and hunt down some small lizard-like creatures. Easy enough. Roland, how does this happen? Kids, you're just like, Roland, come along.
Yeah, I think he's working on, doohickey or whatever. And Kinsey says, Roland, technically we'll be on watch because Pax has turned in for the night into the truck. I told you about Algerinos, which apparently she didn't. I digress. Come on, I've got something I'd like to show you.
Yeah, no, sure. Okay. Yeah, what's going on?
And do you have your night vision goggles?
I don't have night vision goggles.
I thought you did. You know what? That's Pax. Sometimes it's my only two traveling companions. Well, that's fine. We don't need them. Come along. I think Kinsey's just going to drag you along and not tell you exactly. And just kind of walk around the Badlands, like telling you, shh, wait forward, and crouching down. And if you ask him what's going on, he... All right, it's nothing. Come. Let's...
Okay, Kinsey, are we in danger?
No. We are not in... Well, we'll always be a little bit of danger in the Badlands. We are the danger. Come along.
Okay. Sure.
And I think for as long as he can pique your interest in possible, Kinsey's going to wait until finally find one or two lizards and catch them. I think I have an animal trap that I'd like to use. I'll show you how to use.
So Kinsey isn't telling you anything. Then he starts setting up a trap, and then you still don't know what's going on. It's pretty dark. You hear weird sounds. You don't know if it's accidental hounds howling or ball-tail cats yipping or something kind of hooting, and you're getting a little wigged out, Roland, out here in the middle of the dark. You can't even really see that. The campfire is pretty far away at this point. It's over a hill. You can't even really see it. It's very dark. You're only just going off of the stars and the moonlight. It's a bit of a partially cloudy night too, so it's not consistent. Finally, Kinsey, you managed to get the bait right and set the trap. You've tracked this little lizard thing, and it kind of scurries over and steps into the trap, and the trap closes around it.
Ha! Come on! Here, take my bayonet. All right, looks like he's a pretty good sized one here. So you see that little thing bit about right by the neck. Now jab it right there. Go on.
just stabs, just kills the lizard.
Watch out for the blood there.
It's on your hand now.
And this was what is happening, Kinsey?
Oh, I thought you might be hungry. And you've been so kind, teaching me the books and...
I get up and I walk back to the fire.
Right, you are. I'll grab the lizard.
Roll
and I'll
Roland,
collect up the trap.
Roland, you stand up. He's like, I said you'd be hungry and everything, and you're like, and you turn and walk away, and Kinsey, you kind of shout out after him, wait, I'll get the trap, it's fine, right? And Roland crests over the hill towards where the fire is, and you're kind of sitting there it didn't seem like Roland was very appreciative of what you were just showing him, not at all. And so
Sure did.
you start, breaking down the trap, and you got the dead lizard. It's a good lizard. It'll be good to eat. Everything like that. Maybe you're grumbling a little bit to yourself, and then you stand up and you feel a little pinprick on your neck, and you hear a sound of like either bone or wood like creaking behind you, and you hear a voice. Gentle now.
So, sorry? Should I put the lizard down?
And she steps. A figure steps around like to the side of you. The arrow kind of like barely touching your neck, not enough to like draw blood. And you glance down at the arrow, and you get a glimpse. It's that same type of poisoned arrow that the Ophidians use. And this woman steps around. She's got black paint on like the side of her face, and then like some like brownish paint on the side of on this side of her face. She's got like tattoos. Her hair is like bleached by the sun, kind of like brown and blonde, put into like a tight braid on the top of her head, back out of sight. She's wearing dark leathers. You can see like feathers in them, and she's got you like dead to rights. Has an arrow on you, and she goes, "Call your friends." And that's where we'll end the session.
Every time you go for a snack, somebody gets the drop on you at Gump.
Somehow.
Your stomach is gonna be the end of us.
All right, cool. So that's where we're ending this session. I know I have at least one question in the Discord, though. Any of you who are watching, if you have any questions either about the RPG, about the session, about the characters, about the players, whatever, you can drop it in the stream chat. We are watching that. We will answer any questions you throw our way. I'm going to start off the Q&A with we have 2 questions from the Discord. Nope, three questions from the Discord. So the first question was actually supposed to be answered last week, but we were off last week. So it comes from Mizako. It asks, is there a planet-wide database of insane criminals? How absurd do the antagonists become? There's not like a planet-wide database of really anything. Except for like perhaps like hidden away in some like library somewhere. And the like all of the like insane criminals, the ones who would be like super murder machines or something like that, like once they're caught, they're hung. Like as we've seen with Pax and in the earlier arc of this campaign, the criminal justice system on Manifest is basically one of 2 things happens to you when you've been convicted of a crime. You either are hanged for it, or you are basically locked into an indentured servitude contract to kind of work off and pay off your debt to society by basically giving back, working for either someone really wealthy or like some big company or something like that. So those kind of like larger than life, like crazy criminals, they last for as long as they don't get caught, but once they get caught, then it's kind of done. So the closest thing you'll get to a database of insane criminals would be bounty boards, basically the people who currently have large bounties out on their heads. Though the second part of your question, how absurd do the antagonists become? The world of Manifest can be as crazy as you want to make it. A lot of times when I run it, I kind of I have grounded like characters, like even if they're like really they're like really insane, we kind of had the one of the play art campaigns which became like part of the lore is like the Proto Martyrs kind of like rose up. The Proto Martyrs like being this like technologically advanced a cult that was trying to like burn down the Badlands and like rebuild it in their image, and like they were led by a very charismatic like cult leader, and he was even, I tried to give him a lot of like complex like motivations and history and stuff like that. But on the other hand, in a game that Dan ran at, I think at one time when we were at Gen Con, the antagonist of that session was, what was his name, Dan?
His name was Quick Brick McGraw, fastest brick in the Badlands.
Yeah, he was a quick draw specialist that threw a brick of like just a whole brick of luminescence at people to kill them. And it was deadly. It was like hard caliber brick.
It was a hard caliber brick.
He just threw it as hard as he could at somebody using luminescent power and just like blew people's heads off by throwing a brick at them. So they can go all any end of the spectrum. It can be like, you know,
you can easily play Manifest with the Wacky Wasteland setting on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Then another question from Mizako is: was Manifest truly empty, or are there hints of a civilization that once was? Addie, you're writing all the lore. You want to take this one?
Sure. So the question, just to make sure, is there evidence of any civilization that once was before humans got there, before the departure?
Yeah, it says was Manifest truly empty?
There's been no evidence of sentient life or previous civilizations on Manifest before humanity arrived through the wormhole. There's no ruins. We were really careful when we were creating the lore to make sure that this wasn't a planet that was being colonialized by humans. While in your home games, you're welcome to create that lore and mystery. The official setting guide is very clear that this is it only has animal and plant life, no sentient beings. I guess the closest thing is like the Gaurau or something like that.
There's some like pretty intelligent critters out there, but they're not like building towns and holding elections.
There are ruins of things from like post wormhole being created and like pre-departure stuff. I've created a town for one of the modules that we'll be releasing later. That is sort of like a ship that crashed post departure, and people have made it into a town, and things like that, which I think is like super cool, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
but there isn't actual. To be super duper clear, in case I haven't been, the Manifest had no sentient life on it before, but humanity has like basically made its own ruins by existing there for hundreds of years.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was lost post departure but pre factory wars. There's like roughly 100 or less than 100 years of like life on Manifest that was very technologically advanced because it was the stuff that like they had brought with them, and like whatever they had started to set up when they thought that they were always going to be able to like cart back to the home world. And so like there's plenty of like of things where you can discover some like pre-departure tech or some like pre-factory wars like long lost thing. I think the thing we ran on our first year at Gen Con, there was one of the adventures we ran was like in the like shifting sands of like the southern Badlands, like a long lost like research facility became uncovered as the dunes shifted, and so the drifters were sent there to like investigate and salvage what they could. And so like that's like the kind of stuff that the kind of ruins you can run into.
Yeah, the thing that I keep saying as I've sort of gotten better at describing Manifest is that it is post-future. It's a post-future terrestrial sci-fi western, which means that there is some extant high-tech, like future tech, still around, but much of how to make that has been forgotten, or the resources don't exist on this planet. So so there's a lot of leeway to make some really cool stuff and like uh in the system, but the lore is very humanity centric because of the whole we didn't want to do the colonialism thing. So there, you did it.
The chat says, so no to alien pulsar cannon, but maybe yes to human pulsar cannon.
Yep. You got it.
Nailed it. Also, when they were talking about Quick Brick McGraw, they're like, Space Magic C4, got it.
It wasn't quite C4. It was a brick. It's very important that you understand that he threw a brick at people.
And then we have another question from the Discord. This is from, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right, Tribuan? They ask, how does one get an animal companion such as Sugar from the Essential NPC podcast? And what are the limits for possible companions?
There used to be not many.
The ultimate limit on what companions you can and can't have are it's dependent on your GM and the story. But basically, you work with your GM to be like, hey, can I have like this kind of animal companion? You don't start with one, but there's basically one of the paths on one of the talent trees is like kind of growing into that. It starts off with like, I think the second tier in that path gets you like an animal companion that's just like, that's just what it is, like an animal that kind of follows your orders, and then
you have a friendo.
Yeah, and then as you go down that tree, it becomes stronger and better. It becomes better than the average bear.
You have a bestest friendo.
It used to become an unkillable better than
the original build for that was the bonuses were too great. They're still very good though. Like you can. Like, a lot of people, it's actually funny, I wasn't actually ready for this, but when it happened, I immediately realized that made a lot of sense, was that a lot of people make it so that their mount is like their animal companion. Like, they'll have their horse or their Ache or their Warrican be the animal companion that they kind of bond with through that talent tree. And, like, it fits, and, like, I was like, why do people keep doing that? I'm like, actually, it's like Western, right? Like, cowboy and his horse, like, out there on the trail together. Though I do want to make a trapper character that has, instead of a mount animal companion, like a axe handle hound that like helps him hunt, or like a copper bird that he can like send out, like a falconer.
I've come up with the best one. It's a hodag animal companion.
I want
to have a psychic conversation with a hodag.
You don't have psychic conversations. You just understand each other.
Sure. And you know what I'm talking about.
I've always said in a Pink Mohawk Manifest campaign, I want to get an Augurio animal companion.
Yeah, just riding around on the back of an Augurio. That's some tall tale stuff. So the limitation is kind of up to your GM. The rule kind of guides you to be like, within reason, work with your GM. It doesn't have to be one of the like standard mounts, and actually it does say like if your GM is okay with it and it is a creature that is about the right size to be a mount but isn't a typical mount, you could actually, like, if I was running like a complete wild like campaign, like I could let Dan's character like use an Augurio as a mount, like that kind of thing, and it gets all the benefits of being a mount as well as other benefits. But yeah, so I think it's like they start off just they follow your orders and are good, and then they start getting like extra like basically mod slots, which is like their training slots. They can like learn more things than normal, and then their attributes get higher than normal. So you could have a copper bird, which would normally have pretty weak attributes like compared to something like a Warrican, but then you could make it better by going down in that tree, and then you have a copper bird that can kill a Warrican.
So unlike D&D or some other similar there's two things that Dan's picked up on one of the things I'm going to say already, but there's two things. Like D&D has like challenge ratings for monsters or like recommended levels for dealing with sort of like animals and baddies. Manifest doesn't have that. If we come up with a monster manual, we may like retcon that in, but we don't as of yet. We decided to not limit what you can do with the critters and baddies that you might encounter. There's no like specific guidelines as to what you can and can't take as an animal companion. The second thing that Dan laughed at is that you shouldn't be burned by the ranger archetype in D&D. The animal companion route in Manifest is very, very powerful.
Yeah, very rewarding.
Yeah, speaking from experience, it scales extremely well.
Yeah, we played like a really high level campaign, and they had a person in that party who had was it max level animal companion Warrican, and there was like nothing I could throw at them to like.
It legitimately could not be killed.
Yeah,
I think it tackled a van at one point.
Yeah, I shot it with a rocket and like threw it out of like an airship, and it was fine.
I was playing a character who was essentially unable to die, and that Warrican still was harder to kill than me.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Cool. So those are all the questions we have in the Discord. We got good chatter, but no questions in the chat. We got Arget Lom saying, but we all know Badlands Pete ain't real.
He's not real. There's no evidence.
Have you seen that mountain? That ain't natural.
I love it. Yeah, so unless anyone else has any questions in the chat, we'll give you guys a second in case anyone's thinking and trying to type it out. Does anyone have any other advancement triggers that they hit before we sign off?
I hit 3 out of 4. We didn't avoid a fight by underhanded means.
I definitely didn't get any more than the 2 I got immediately.
Pax, what is the exact wording of that advancement trigger?
Oh yeah.
An open fight is avoided through underhanded means.
Yeah, Kinsey, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, at the very end.
Yeah,
oh, I get it.
that happened.
Yeah,
All right, I got all 4.
Nice. Someone was shown how to survive in the wild and a trap.
And a trap utilized successfully. Yep.
I don't think a predator was evaded unless you count the dead guy in the.
Nah. He wasn't a predator.
Hold on. What's the make of that car?
The good old Fort Dearborn Predator. And then is that 2 from you then, Kinsey?
3 altogether.
3 altogether.
Because patience was rewarded.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I have us at 9, which tracks.
Okay, what? Because you got 2.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so you guys gain 9 XP. Good job. And I don't see any other questions in the stream chat. So we are going to wrap it up for tonight. Addie, we are on again next Tuesday, the 25th, yes?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So we will be back on same time, same channel, same 3 Yahoos. We'll see how things pan out as they attempt to befriend the Ophidian clan.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's right there above Seth. Do it.
Smash that like and subscribe.
If you subscribed via Twitch Prime, it's a thing you have to do every month. So if it's been a month, do it again.
So it's at the beginning of every month.
Beginning of every month.
So if you did it for February, you already did
you
it.
did.
But we will be reminding you in 2 weeks to do it again.
It actually runs out every 30 days. So if you subscribed on the 17th, it goes until the 17th.
Oh,
Ah,
really?
okay.
Oh, they
Yes.
changed it.
Yeah.
Neat.
So
Okay.
so yeah, now we just gotta bother people every time.
All the
Bother
time.
them all the time.
All right, we love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. We had a ton of fun. Hopefully you had some fun too. We look forward to doing this again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night. See you next week.